It down, and I'm told that there are huge queues outside because the scanners haven't been working properly. At least they weren't when my dad tried to get his way in about 5 or 6 minutes ago, and the stands around us though are now starting to fill up nicely. It's York City to get this game underway and go straight for it down the centre of the field, but give away possession on the right side, but it's picked up by Akinyemi. He takes on the shot from the edge of the area and he slices it into the crowd, into the empty stand behind the goal. But again, York City going forward immediately from the kick-off, Ian Dunn.
Yes, yeah, good start, good sign to see they're going for it. I think Neil Ardley realises probably York City's best form of defence is to attack. It really is, and it worked on Saturday. They had a good go at Fylde. If they do get the same again tonight, yes, I share John Askey's confidence, but we've got to do what we did on Saturday for another 90 plus minutes.
Just looking, we are right. They have gone 5 at the back of the 3 centre-backs over at Chester. It's how they finished the final 20-25 minutes down at the Diva Stadium. They started with a 4 at the back in that original tie. Today they are gone 5 at the back. This ball's downfield by Stanway and cornered as well to find Ryan Fallowfield. City shooting from left to right, so towards the empty north stand, means they'll be shooting towards their own supporters in the second half, which is, I think, what most York City supporters would like to see. Fallowfield gets the ball caught between his legs, and the referee gives a free kick to Chester. What's all that about?
I don't know. To quell the enthusiasm of the first couple of minutes, just to make sure nothing silly happens, but this is a FA Cup tie. We want to see that.
He slipped, got the ball caught between his legs. The referee blew up rather than having the Chester player kicking away at his legs, but he gave the free kick to Chester. Very strange.
Very strange indeed.
The referee tonight, not the same referee as we had in the original game. This is Aaron Bannister. Remember when you used to have the same ref, if it was a replay, you used to get the same referees as well, but that doesn't seem to be the case anymore.
Is that right? I didn't know that.
Yeah, seriously. I don't remember.
Oh. We usually get teams beat in the first leg. That's, no replays.
Corner with the throw, just short of halfway, down this near side, and it's put back into touch. Just looking, it's Lati Fairweather who started this game, actually, as the left wing back. McLaughlin has come into midfield alongside Woodyard. Burgess is playing just behind the front two of John Lewis and Akinyemi. Corner on the right-hand side of the 3 centre-backs at the minute, but he's now moving across, long ball downfield, flicks off the head of Akinyemi, and John Lewis fouls one of the Chester defenders in the D just outside the penalty area, and that'll be a free kick to the visitors. So we've got the 3 centre-backs. Lati Fairweather is playing left wing-back, Fallowfield right wing-back, and then it's Burgess, Woodyard and McLaughlin across the centre, so it's 3-5-2 for York City.
3-5-2, yeah. We've got the front 2, which, I'm a real advocate of having 2 up front to share the workload. So 3-5-2, you expect your wing backs to make that into a 4 attackers if possible. So yeah, it's an attacking looking lineup.
Will Stanway, the Chester goalkeeper, has taken that free kick in his D, and he's put it out of play for a goal kick to York City at the far end of the field, and David Stockdale will get his first action of the night. Decent noise from the south stand.
Yeah,
it has filled up quite a bit, actually, hasn't it, in the last few minutes?
It has, and there's been a call to arms here. I think the crowd does look, this main stand is pretty much 2/3 full.
Hopefully everyone has managed to get in time for kick-off, and the queues have died down. My dad said he was there for the best part of 15-20 minutes.
My wife got stuck as well, so there's obviously been an issue at the turnstiles.
Ball down the line for York City. Akinyemi's going to collect it in the middle of the field. Does well to hold off his man. He lays it out all the way back, though, to the left-hand side to Will Smith. Smith to Lati Fairweather. He goes infield to Alex Woodyard, who I think had his best game in a York City shirt at Fylde at the weekend.
Yep, he did. And they're the standards he's got to keep now, because he'll be so... If he can play like that week in, week out, or more often than not, he'll be so important for the way Neil Ardley wants to play his football.
Barnsley already 2 up at Horsham in that FA Cup replay. It started 10 minutes before this one.
I heard that Aidan Marsh has started that game for
Barnsley.
Has he? That's what I've just been told, yeah. So good luck to him, obviously.
Ball forward for Callum Howell. Neil Ardley said if he was fit for the game against Chester, he actually would have been able to play, because they decided they could play in the Cup for York City, but they've called him back now and had a change of heart. Must have a few injury problems down there in South Yorkshire. City have it on the left-hand side. McLaughlin comes back into midfield, goes back to halfway, and gives it to Corner. City having all the possession in the opening 4 minutes here on BBC Radio York. That's a good crossfield ball to Fallowfield. Inside to Burgess. Burgess's touch lets him down, but he wins York City a corner kick.
Yep, good ball out to Ryan Fallowfield. Lovely first time touch, just into Scott Burgess inside the 18-yard box. You're right, his first touch wasn't brilliant, but he harried, and he's won his team a corner, which I think he's going to be taking.
He is. Derby lead Crewe by 1-0 in their FA Cup replay. Scarborough Athletic still goalless at Forest Green. We do have commentary of that online if you just have a look on the on BBC Sounds. You'll be able to find a link to that commentary courtesy of our colleagues at BBC Gloucester. Dinked into the box from Burgess to the near post. John Lewis controls his chest, takes a turn, scores! Oh, what a well-worked free kick that is! A corner kick from York City. Dinged, literally dinked to the near post. John Lewis controlled it on his chest and hooked it home from a yard. Caught Chester unawares, caught everyone unawares.
Brilliant.
City lead by a goal to nil.
Absolutely brilliant, ingenious little corner. And Scott Burgess, you can see the confidence surging through him to just dink. Literally, that's the word, David. He dinked it into the 6-yard box. And John Lewis, after that, was absolutely clinical. Beautiful touch. And then he swiveled on his 360 and rifled into the top corner. That's as good as number 9, a striker's goal as you'll ever see.
That's the first time we've seen that corner as well, so that's clearly something they've worked on.
Absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. Lovely free kick. Yeah, if you can see that. Oh, what a move. What a goal. What a start.
What a start for York City. They lead by a goal to nil here on BBC Radio York. And of course, the prize is a plum tie live on BBC Two and on BBC Radio York, of course. Never forget that on Friday the 1st of December against Wigan Athletic.
Don't be dumping us for the TV.
You'll be going shopping, won't you? Neil Ardley's coat will be out that day, won't it?
Yeah, it will as well.
Throw into York on the left-hand side. Well, that is the perfect start. Just like Saturday, City have scored at exactly the same time as they did in that win at Fylde.
Yeah, and you still feel we're a team that, if we get that early goal, we'll have we'll put in a good performance. The longer it goes without getting that lead, you sort of, a little bit of panic maybe sets in. But no, brilliant start for York City.
Howe clears forward towards John Lewis, the York City captain. He can't get there, and the ball is played back to Will Stanway. And he's put it straight into touch. He looks a bit nervous as the Chester goalkeeper. Throw taken quickly. John Lewis on the byline. Long ball downfield. York City went into the corner. Whoa. It's all York City in the opening stages. This is really good.
Yeah, this is really good. And what they're doing, York City, every time the ball's dead, it's gone. They're alive. As soon as the ball's available to play, they're alive. And they're catching. Well, they've caught Chester out twice already. But the speed of thought, the speed of play is really impressive at the moment. I know we're only 7 minutes in, but clearly this is something Neil Ardley, Neil Cox will have worked on the training ground to keep that ball moving as quick as possible, get it into play as quick as possible.
Corner kick,
it's working.
Corner kick from the far side. Burgess swings this one in. It hangs there in the air to the edge of the area. It's going to be cleared by Chester, and they now come forward. Taylor can't take it under control. He gives possession back to York City and Callum Howe. The fans are involved as well, right from the off here for York City. Fallowfield bursts forward to Akinyemi on the right hand side. He runs at his defenders across the face of the penalty area. Akinyemi takes to the shot. Goalkeeper saves. It's a path for York City man, and somehow it's been shambled. They still haven't cleared it. Chester to Fallowfield in the area. How did that stay out? Last ditch defending by the away side, and they now do clear their lines.
Love it. What brilliant football this is from York City right now. They're at it.
How did that not go in?
I have no idea, and it would have been an absolutely fitting way to get a second goal because the move, the purpose behind it was fantastic. This is exciting. This is what we want to see.
Alex Woodyard's not happy with somebody there, but there's a lot to like from York City in the opening 8 minutes here on BBC Radio York. Welcome to Harrogate Town, listeners. They've been on DAB. Half-time in their EFL Trophy game away to Carlisle United. Last time I saw, they were trailing by a goal to nil at half-time. Still trailing by a goal to nil at half-time. Second half commentary of that will be on our FM frequencies. And then after that's finished, so virtually the whole of the second half of this York City game will be on all our frequencies, online, on FM and on DAB. The first half's on DAB. David Stockdale gets a back pass and then scuffs his clearance, but fortunately for him, it falls to a red shirt. Forest Green have scored against Scarborough Athletic. They lead by a goal to nil, the League Two side. Stockdale gets the chance again on this right-hand side, brings it outside his area and lays it off into touch.
Yeah, a little bit rocky moments there for David Stockdale. The ball was his greasy pitch and the ball was just pinged back at him there and he couldn't quite get control of it. But do you hear the noise that the crowd are making, David? They have turned up with the noise down certainly that south stand and behind us in this main stand. And the fans are appreciating what the players are doing. This is what we want to see. Exciting, attacking football.
Early goals virtually everywhere in the FA Cup tonight. After there's 8 games taking place, after less than 10 minutes, there's only one game hasn't got a goal. As Chester were getting a free kick on this near side. This is a chance for them to put a dangerous ball into the box. Horsham 0, Barnsley 2, Accrington 1, Doncaster 0, Derby 1, Crewe 1, Forest Green 1, Scarborough 0, Grimsby 1, Slough 0, Salford 1, Peterborough 0. take it quickly to Chester. Into the middle it goes from Taylor, but there's no one taking a gamble, and it goes all the way across the far side, and it's kept in play by a York City man over there. Then decides to get the burners, the afterburners on, and it finds its way to Latty Fairweather, who's forward. Latty Fairweather now runs at Coates. He's not going to get past him. The Chester man trying to win a free kick, but he runs it into touch for a York City throw-in.
Well, that was impressive because it was Will Smith actually almost sort of passed it to himself, but then somewhere from nowhere,
he made up 5 or 6 yards on him.
Yeah, Latty Fairweather, absolutely rapid. He just took over. Wow, just it's all so good. I keep having to remind myself we're only 10 minutes in, but this is really good football from York City.
Long throw about to come into that box from York City, far side of the field. Tyler Cordner swings it over his head, curls it into the box, comes off a Chester man. York City are going to have their 3rd corner kick here in the 10th minute.
Yeah, whatever Neil Ardley.
Look at Neil Ardley, he's saying Tyler Cordner, because he swings out sort of right around his right-hand side of his body, doesn't it? It doesn't come from directly behind his head, those long throws.
No, it's not a natural long thrower, I don't think. He can hoy the ball quite some spare. It's you can get it in somewhere into the 18-yard box.
Burgess with this 3rd corner into the box. It comes. Stanway comes and gets a good fists on it. Punches well clear of his penalty area. Good goalkeeping this time from him. Latty Fairweather goes back to Stockdale, who's halfway inside his own half. One touch to control, then he lays it off to Paddy McLaughlin. McLaughlin back to the left to Latty Fairweather. Latty Fairweather back to McLaughlin. McLaughlin sidesteps his man and plays it nicely, neatly through, but then given away in the middle of the park by Scott Burgess. Now they can come forward. Can Chester up towards the edge of the York City penalty box. It's 2-on-2 here if they play it right. To the right-hand side they go. Cox cross shot comes in. Good save by Stockdale at his near post. City struggling to clear. They will do now through Scott Burgess, who was the man who gave the ball away initially. And it's forward to Akinyemi. First moment of danger from York City, and that was a slack play, and then Akinyemi's penalised as a Chester man throws himself to the ground as if to say he's been absolutely kiboshed by Dipo Akinyemi around the head. Ridiculous play acting from the Chester man. The referee just tells him to get up. Akinyemi says, look, you've been given the foul, but why are you trying to make a meal out of that?
Yeah, embarrassing, but that's some modern day footballers choose that course. That's what I'd use VAR for, I tell you. The play acting, it's ridiculous. But no, City, couple of moments, just a little scary couple of moments there, but they've started this game off on fire, David.
The referee did well, because he was trying to get Akinyemi sent off there.
Yes.
The referee didn't even have a word with Dipo.
Yeah, ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous.
Corner. Thought some of the comments, the pre-match comments and the post-match comments actually from Callum McIntyre, the Chester City manager, were interesting. He said, we shouldn't be within 3 goals of York City. He forgets there was 9 places, I think, between the two sides in the original tie.
It's mind games at its absolute worst. It isn't that isn't going to work with us. We're York City. We know.
Corner to John Lewis. To Fallowfield. I suppose he's just trying to take all sorts of any pressure that could be on his side off them.
Yeah, if anything, he's just brought amusement to the presser, I think.
Well, he's probably Neil Ardley could well have used some of his words as well to fire his side up.
Yeah. Well, it's used, isn't it? Because he's always putting pressure on City, isn't it? You should be 3 goals ahead. No, football doesn't work like that.
Well, they're 1 goal ahead with coming up to 13 minutes on the clock. Tyler Cordner, the right-hand side, comes over halfway. Picks out Burgess, has got around the back again on this near side. Now he holds it up, gives it to Ryan Fallowfield. Fallowfield back to Burgess near the corner flag. Shoulder barge, but that's going to be another corner, is it? No. Runs dead, and that goes behind for a goal kick. So City lead by 1-0 thanks to Linnell John Lewis's shot on the turn from the corner in the 5th minute.
Yeah, interesting as well just to see, we were waxing lyrical about Burgess and Fallowfield on Saturday. I know it's a different position for Burgess, but he's still trying to get in and around Ryan Fallowfield. They've definitely got something going, those two together on the football pitch, and I think they probably both know that, and they're confident in each other. I think that'll be a feature going forward, David, I really do.
Stanway clears, appeals for handball against Chester. The referee allows it to go, and they come along down the right-hand side. Latty Fairweather is over there with Will Smith. Smith nods it into touch, throwing an attacking position for Chester. In the last couple of minutes have started to come forward. Taken quickly over there by Kieran Coates. One of the 2 changes for Chester, and he throws himself to the ground again. The referee says, no, get up. There's some terrible play acting in the first few minutes here from the visitors. Long ball downfield looking for Latty Fairweather. Stanway comes outside his penalty area to collect, takes it back into the box, and he can pick it up.
Yeah, it was the right idea, though. I think it was Paddy McLaughlin there trying to find Latty Fairweather and use his pace. Just a little bit too much on it, skidding away from Latty Fairweather.
There's one thing that's going to wind fans up, it is play acting.
Oh yeah, it does.
And I know City have players who do it. Kai Kennedy's done it a couple of times this season, been pulled up for it.
Yeah.
So when City aren't angels in that respect, but we've seen it twice so far from Chester.
Yeah, you just wish referees would be...
I'd give yellow cards every time.
Yeah, because players, they're not stupid. They will soon learn. It's the same at
They
corner
will, because
kicks.
referees as well, though. Referees will get it wrong sooner or later, and they will give a foul or a penalty when the play acting's going on.
Yeah, that's it.
So it does affect the game.
They do need to deter it somehow.
Callum Howe. Forward to Burgess, takes that down really well. Down this right-hand side, Burgess through to Akinyemi, the penalty area, tight angle. Pulls it to the middle, just in front of John Lewis. He couldn't get there. It looked like a simple pass from our angle.
Oh, gosh. It really could be 3, couldn't it? That was a lovely... Again, Scott Burgess controlling Callum Howe's chipped ball sublimely. And laying Dippo in. I actually thought Dippo was going to shoot, but...
I think he was caught in 2 minds. That's why he didn't make the pass.
Yeah, as he squared it across. And I'm not sure John Lewis was really in the position to get there. He wasn't expecting it, I think, as well. But again, good football from York City.
And the applause you can hear in the background is for 3 of the York City substitutes who've come out to do some warming up. Who we got down here? Castro, Siziba and Maz Kuyar.
Maz back in, Duckworth back in the squad. Lovely to see him fit again.
Thrown to York City inside the Chester half. They go back to halfway to Callum Howe. Howe to Burgess. Howe is going to go back to David Stockdale. I think he's going to have to be contented with a place on the substitutes bench again at the weekend. Does look like George Sykes-Kenworthy will be the number 1 for now, and quite rightly so after his performance, especially at Fylde. That's a nice little through ball from corner to Akinyemi. He sends it further forward to Burgess, gets it back to Dipo Akinyemi, centre of the field. Now he goes to the left to McLaughlin, who's pushed up. Lati Fairweather outside him, just outside the penalty area. He's going to burst into the penalty area now. Lati Fairweather on his right foot, lays it off back to Akinyemi. Akinyemi, a little dink ball through, but it's over the head of John Lewis and it goes behind for a goal kick.
Nice idea. Again, good approach play by City. Just getting to that 18-yard line. Dippo trying a little bit of something different, dinking it through. Didn't quite come off on this occasion, but I don't mind that, David. This is a team that's been told to go out and attack and be crisp and be fast and move the ball quickly. And it's trying. It's not all going to, be brilliant every time and perfect every time, but if they keep trying those things, we'll see more of the sort of football we've witnessed in this first 15 minutes. Yeah,
it's been very entertaining and very, very good from York City in the opening 17 minutes. Akinyemi gets the ball again back to goal on halfway, lays it off to Ryan Fallowfield. The start of a really big 7 days for York City with 3 home games. Hartlepool at the weekend, then Oxford City this time next week as John Lewis is caught offside on this right-hand side. If things go to plan for Neil Ardley's side, I think everyone will be so much more confident come next Tuesday night if there are 3 wins put on the board.
Oh, my word, yes. I mean, that
is a big if.
That is the dream, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, it is a big if. At any time of the season, to win 3 on the bounce is pretty impressive.
But it's not out of the question when you look at the fixtures.
No, it's not. City have got some fixtures that they're more confident. The more performances like we're seeing at the moment, the more confident they will be of getting results. And there's no reason why not to if they can put the effort in. Get things right, get a little bit of the green now and again.
Ball downfield. Howe can't do much with that. Appeals for handball, and that was handball against Alex Woodyard. I see both managers down there wearing exactly the same footwear in.
Oh, I think the opposition managers had a little bit of fashion lesson.
Do you think so in the first game?
Yeah.
But when you see that, I know if you watch football on the telly now, especially on Sky, they all wear the same footwear on there as well as part of the uniform. Pretty similar to yours, yes, that is very true.
It must be a football thing.
Right, this is a dangerous position for a free kick. Declan Weeks on this left-hand side is going to swing it in. Everyone lines up at the edge of that York City penalty area, raises his left arm, and it comes now into the centre. Stockdale comes and gathers.
Doddle for a player like David Stockdale, he will love that all day.
And he bowls it out to Tyler Cordner, who's bursting forward down the left wing here. It's almost total football at times, this for York City, but then he has to put the brakes on.
Do you notice as players in little pockets of space, suddenly they're available? When you're doing well, Woodyard will get on the ball. Well, Fallowfield's getting on the ball.
The most impressive thing there when Tyler Cordner decided to go down the left wing was Woodyard stepped in and replaced him at the back. Yeah, he's a clever footballer. He's got all that experience. He will do that. But he's the kind of player we said weeks ago, yes, he had a bit of a dodgy spell a few weeks ago, but maybe wasn't fully fit. But he's the kind of player that will pop up in pockets all over the ground. And at the end of the game, you'll suddenly think, oh, my word, that was Alex Woodyard doing all that work. Will Smith. The left-hand side gives it to McLaughlin. He's got acres of space here to turn. He does so. Then he has to go back to Tyler Cordner in the centre circle. To Callum Howe. Suddenly City have started looking a little bit more solid at the back. Forest Green have got a second now against Scarborough. You have to wonder how the travelling has affected Scarborough tonight. And if all their players did get there on time for the team sheet to be handed in.
Yeah, it's
how much of
heartbreaking.
the warm-up they were able to take part in. If you missed it, I spoke to Jonathan Greening yesterday, long ball down the line, come back to that in a second, and it's going to be nodded into touch from this near side for a good place for a throw, an attacking position for a throw-in for York City by the Chester defender. Jonathan Greening has 4 teachers in his squad, and none of them could leave school till 3:15 this afternoon in North Yorkshire.
Yeah, that's that's unfortunate. That's the level that Scarborough are playing at, and it's a real issue, especially when big matches like this come along. I really do feel for them.
Throw in then on this near side, Ryan Fallowfield gets ready to take. Level with the edge of the penalty area. City are massive, seeing the York City supporters in the south stand. Fallowfield to Akinyemi on the byline, but he can't control it. Poor control by the big striker there on his thigh, and it goes behind for a goal kick. City still lead by a goal to nil, 20 minutes on the clock.
Words you won't use often when it comes into Dipo Akinyemi's feet, isn't it? He usually looks after it really well. A bit of a collector's item there. But no, I think you said, David, earlier about City just look a little bit more solid defensively. And I think that is as a team. I think as a team, something's clicking here. Don't want to speak too soon, but something's clicking. They look harder to beat.
That flicks off the head of Lati Fairweather. It's going to be picked up on the far side by Glendon. He lays it off to Coates, who comes forward down the right, up towards the edge of the York City penalty area. Coates has got to get past Lati Fairweather. Lati Fairweather does really well, really well. Just shoved him off there. Kieran Coates wins it back for York City, but then Will Smith just sort of stumbled over the ball and put it into touch for a throw-in.
Yeah, Lati Fairweather did do very well there. Big lad.
Throw-in taken. Glendon back to Coates. Coates down the line to Whitehouse, who's gone across that far side. Forward to Adam Thomas, the lone striker. The yellow shirts still have it. Chester playing in their away kit tonight, of course. Lati Fairweather comes in, puts the tackle in, wins the ball cleanly, puts it back into touch for another Chester throw. 7 or 8 yards away from the corner flag, far side of the ground, in front of one of those empty blocks in the west stand. No York City fans over that far side of the ground tonight. Throw-in's taken back to Matty Williams. Williams gets past John Lewis rather easily there. Then he runs into McLaughlin, and the ball deflects back off Williams and goes behind for a York City goal kick. Halfway point of the first half coming up. City leading by a goal to nil here on BBC Radio York. And time for the second half commentary, if you're listening on our FM frequencies, of Harrogate Town's EFL Trophy tie at Carlisle United. Just getting underway at the start of the second half, with Town trailing by a goal to nil.
Special word for Paddy McLaughlin, because in recent weeks he has been fantastic, and he's having to play. He had to play that sort of left wing back role. Now he's moved back into midfield, and his performance levels.
I think he's
really
better when he has
good.
that license to go forward. I don't think he's a holding midfielder anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, he's that doesn't suit his game.
Yeah. No, he's been spot on these last few games.
Russ Penn was maybe right after all that time, saying he thought he would be good on that left hand side.
Yeah.
Ball across to Lati Fairweather. Should have controlled that. You heard the ironic cheers of the Chester fans right in front of them. He let it go over his boot and into touch for a throw into Chester. No more goals to tell you about the FA. In fact, Barnsley have just scored a third as soon as I say that, and Peterborough have equalised at Salford City. Throw in taken down the line by Chester, cleared by Corner with a big up and under onto the head of Liam Edwards. He clears and it goes to Corner, who gives it to Smith. Smith to Lati Fairweather. Lati Fairweather, tackle comes in on him. On the back of Lati Fairweather over there are the Chester fans. There's a throw into York City. Chester send a couple of their players out to do some warm-ups. Smith has it at the back for York. Gives it to Howe. Chester it's more even game now, this sort of last 5 or 10 minutes. Stem the tide. Yeah,
I think both and City as well, but the City is still in control of the ball. Chesterfield are sitting in. I think they're fearful of going 2 down, which would probably make it a dead rubber for them. But
Burgess dinks it down the line to Akinyemi on this right-hand side. Tackle comes in on him, and the yellow shirts win it back. Akinyemi doing well here to track his man. Glendon gets away from him. Now he's got Woodyard on him. The referee is going to pull it back, saying there are just too many little nicks of the heel there as Akinyemi tried to halt his run.
Yeah.
Doesn't need to have a word with the York City striker, just gives the free kick. Good refereeing.
But again, the work rate, that will rub off on the rest of the team. If you've seen your star striker, and he is our star striker, you're seeing him chase back 30, 40 yards. It's going to inspire you to do exactly the same. I think that's so important that message gets right through the whole team. You've got to work for each other.
Burke under pressure gives the ball away to Tyler Cordner. Cordner gives it back to Smith. Smith out to this right-hand side to Callum Howe. Howe, ball over the top, looking for Scott Burgess, but it's allowed to bounce, and Stanway is able to come and gather, stop the ball going out of play for a goal kick. Stanway is all. Well, you can tell us what shade of purple is that, Ian? Is that a lilac?
Is it a violet?
Ooh.
Is it a violet?
It's a Parma violet.
Parma violet, yes, it is. Parma violet top. Lilac
do you like a Parma violet?
Well, they're a bit.
They're not my favourite.
No,
my wife likes a Parma violet.
Yeah, so does mine actually. I think Parma violets. Yeah. No, not my favourite. Bit medicine-y.
Bit retro. Yeah, bit medicine-y,
yeah. Yeah, we'll not introduce them to matchday commentary.
What part of the matchday is? What have you got for us tonight?
Well, we're struggling, aren't we? It's been a rushed evening. I was hoping you'd bring some chocolatey fingers.
No chocolate fingers today for Neil Ardley. Likes a chocolate finger, doesn't he? Does Neil Ardley? David Stockdale has the ball. Gives it to Callum Howe. Callum Howe to Scott Burgess. Burgess, that's a good ball to John Lewis, who tries to lay it off this right-hand side. Ryan Fallowfield's run offside. I'm not sure if John Lewis meant to ping that straight across to him, or if it just hit him and bounced into Fallowfield's path.
It was that sort of that first touch. He just literally bounced off him into Fallowfield's path. He was offside, so yeah, he almost a good bad in there for John Lewis.
Stanway comes across to take it. The former Macclesfield Town man who won promotion when that Macclesfield Town last season. Did Will Stanway. He plays it down the line. Callum Howe wins the header. Gets the better of Thomas. So does McLaughlin. Appeals for a high boot, not given by the referee. City get it back. Burgess sends it across the far. So that's a good ball to Latty Fairweather. He's got Coates for company. He's going to run at Coates. You can hear the Chester fans getting on his back. Forward to John Lewis on. John Lewis just shrugged off that too easily. The York City captain. And Chester now able to come forward. Howe dragged out of position by Declan Weeks.
Offside.
Weeks over the top. They're going through one-on-one. Chester, it's done really well there, David Stockdale. The Chester man, Glendon, did not fancy that at all.
No,
he looked favourite.
Yeah.
And Stockdale charged out of his area and managed to clear the ball with his knee.
Yeah, sorry, David. He was a yard or two offside there. And the linesman, because I think he was so close to him, didn't put his flag up. But he was definitely offside, in my opinion. Thankfully, you're right. I think he saw big David Stockdale coming at him and thought better of it.
He should definitely have got there first there, George Glendon, but he backed out of that, the former Fleetwood and Carlisle man. He did not fancy the challenge with David Stockdale.
Yeah, the brakes came on, didn't they?
Ryan Fallowfield over the top, looking for Akinyemi. Doesn't reach its target, headed clear by Chester. Fallowfield back to corners. He dives, almost heads that ball with just a couple of inches off the turf. He gives it to Will Smith on the left-hand side. Everyone in the Chester half of the field. Smith down the line to Latty Fairweather. Now he's going to take on Coates again. Gets past Coates. Referees are going to give a free kick. It falls to McLaughlin, so he doesn't. Plays the advantage. Not sure there is much of an advantage, but City keep hold of possession.
It's good. They are keeping the ball, York. When they're running down a narrow alley, they're managing to come out of it still in possession of the football.
I would love Latty Fairweather to be involved in a goal here, because he's getting this little stick over that far side from the Chester supporters. He can't keep that one in play though. Woodyard has sent that too far downfield and it goes behind for a goal kick.
Yes, he's right in the glare of the Chester fans over there, all 800 of them. And he's getting a bit of stick right now. All good-natured, I'm sure.
Yeah, I just need to look at the scoreboard, Ian.
Yes, well, yeah.
That lovely new scoreboard.
Yeah.
Temporary,
yeah,
but it's better than the old one.
It works.
And the best bit about it is it says York City 1, Chester 0 on it.
Yeah, so far so good. Early days still, as far as football matches go.
Callum McIntyre, the Chester manager, has just got a bit of a telling off from the fourth official, so he's gone across, and now they're all friends again. Both got their arms around each other. Finishes with a smile and shake of hands. And the game is back underway. John Lewis tries to find Akinyemi. Oh, not good defending by Chester. Just last ditch. They managed to feed it back to their goalkeeper. Akinyemi almost got the better there. Now they do on the right-hand side, City. Oh, the flag goes up. McLaughlin won the tackle over there, but Akinyemi wasn't expecting him to and was offside. Yeah,
McLaughlin did really well to win the ball, but yeah, Akinyemi was still in that offside position, unfortunately. Hadn't quite dragged himself back on.
Stanway gets ready to take yet another free kick for an offside flag in front of his own supporters on the far side of the field, just outside his penalty area. And he sends it long onto the head of Callum Howe. Scott Burgess wins that, does well Does really well. Lays it off to Ryan Fallowfield. Gets a round of applause from the York City supporters as well. Fallowfield runs into trouble, manages to keep hold of the ball, gives it to Howe, and then they find a bit of space by recycling it to Cordner.
Yeah.
Cordner can come forward. Adam Thomas not seeing much of the ball, the lone Chester striker here in the opening 30 minutes, which is what we like to see. That's good play from McLaughlin. Turns away from his man and gives it to Callum Howe. City working the space well. Forward to Fallowfield. Fallowfield up towards the edge of the box to John Lewis. Oh, what's he tried there, the York City captain? He tried to dummy it, but there was no one behind him, just gives away possession. He's not having the greatest game, John Lewis, apart from putting the ball in the back of the net, which is the most important thing.
It was a cracking goal. So he gets away with that when you score a cracking goal for so long. But yeah, I think no one else was on his wavelength with that dummy.
Smith to the left-hand side to Lati Fairweather. Back to Smith. You can tell every time he gets the ball just by the noises in the background.
Yeah, it's not sure what Lati Fairweather's done over there, but a bit of stick.
Smith back to Stockdale. Bit of keep ball now from York City at the back. Stockdale back to Smith. Forest Green have got a third against Scarborough. It's not going to be for Jonathan Grinning's side by the sound of that. In field, the City come to Dipo Akinyemi. He's tackled by Declan Weeks. Little black heel. Now Chester can come forward after finding a nice bit of space in the centre of the park. Through number 25, Kevin Roberts. Tackle comes in on him. Nothing given by the referee. Goes back across to Matty Williams. Williams infield to Liam Edwards. Edwards comes across to Harrison Burke. Burke back to Edwards.
Chester fans cheering on Come On City, David.
Yeah, it's not even their name, is it? Not anymore. Yeah, strange. Glendon into the centre of the park to Weeks. Got to be careful, he is. That's a good ball out to Williams. He comes into midfield to Elliot Whitehouse. Former York City midfielder, of course. 10 years now since Elliot Whitehouse was here. No goals in 18 appearances in that 13-14 season for York City. For Elliot Whitehouse. Now right at the back, John Lewis has to duck out the challenge. Room for Chester to come forward here by Burke, just outside the penalty area. Lays it off on this left-hand side to Taylor. Joel Taylor holds it up, back to Weeks. Weeks dinks it into the penalty area, looking for Coates. Stockdale's going to come and gather. Yep. Interesting, Joel Taylor, actually, because I know lots of York City fans looking at red and blue and some of the message boards think City maybe should go for Joel Taylor, but he's not particularly well liked by the Chester fans, reading some of the things that they say about him. He obviously was at Notts County and at Chesterfield before that, struggled with injuries, so he has been a little bit injury prone in the last 18 months. But the Chester fans, they're not the biggest supporters of their left back.
Not warm to him.
No, not really. Not so far.
City, I mean, that ball in again to David Stockdale, that's, he will love that all night long. If they just pop that ball up in and around that 6-yard box, he will come and collect.
It's his second spell, Joel Taylor, at Chester. They're probably, I'm guessing they just don't think he's reached the heights he reached the first time to get that move to the likes of Notts County and Chesterfield. Yeah, they have it again at the back, but they've given it away. Fallowfield finds Akinyemi. Akinyemi under pressure. Lays it off to McLaughlin. He can go to Lati Fairweather, but keeps hold of it and turns back to Akinyemi. Oh, poor pass from Paddy McLaughlin. But he's won it back, so it's a terrible pass from Chester.
Yeah, when things are going for you, they go for you.
Smith to McLaughlin in midfield. He comes in field, goes back to Woodyard. Woodyard's going to give it to this right-hand side to Scott Burgess. Burgess up towards the edge of the area again. John Lewis on his heels, can't collect the ball. Woodyard plays it off the Chester man into touch. It goes on this near side. He's just off it a little bit, is John Lewis in open play.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's that first touch when it goes into his body. So you're not really sure what's going to happen. He's a willing trier. He throws in the odd goal or two. He's a decent player, but yeah, you're not sure when it goes into his feet, he's going to keep it.
He's got it now. Gives it to Woodyard. Woodyard Smith. Everyone in that Chester half of the field. All the players apart from David Stockdale. Smith. Oh, he gives away possession, but he's going to again just give it straight. Chester will just keep giving the ball back. Well,
this is what happens. City have put Chester under pressure, and when Chester do win that ball, it's rushed. Very similar to what when we're playing against teams that have put us under the cosh a little bit. You just get that pressure, and the ball just bounces anywhere, and more often than not, the opposition win it back, as is what's happening for York City tonight.
Howe to Burgess, back to Callum Howe on the right-hand side of the three centre-backs. Howe still got it. Goes back to David Stockdale. 34 minutes gone. City still lead by a goal to 0. John Lewis on 5 minutes. Great finish, a well-worked corner. Just dinked in from Scott Burgess. He was stood by the near post. Could probably touch in the post, and he just turned and volleyed it in past Stanway. So simple when you see it, but it was so well worked.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, you know, they will have worked on that in training. It just came off tonight. Scott Burgess, and just the confidence is running through his veins at the moment. It seems he's got that bit of a swagger about him.
Howe dinks it into midfield to John Lewis. He lays it off this time well to Scott Burgess. He gives it to Smith on the left-hand side, who himself is seeing quite a lot of the ball, to Lati Fairweather. He comes in field. Thierry Lati Fairweather up towards the edge of the box, but he gives away possession. But City are going to win it back through Scott Burgess.
There you go.
To McLaughlin.
Yeah.
He goes back to Smith. Going to have to be careful. Oh, he took too many touches there. Will Smith. Tackle comes in. Now the break's on for Chester. Needs some help in the middle, does Thomas. Everyone's getting back for York City. Chester have still got it on that right-hand side. Have to go back to coach. City now do have everyone back.
Yeah, there's Will Smith just a little bit complacent on the ball there. What was impressive was how quickly York got back into the shape. They got players back to help him out. Made a mistake, but hey, we all do.
He was already thinking about what he was going to do with it, wasn't he, before he had the ball under control, I think.
Yeah, his teammates pulled him out there, which is a good sign.
You could see the cogs turning, but the feet weren't willing to do what the brain was telling him to do. They have it at the back to Chester. Burke. Long diagonal crossfield ball looking for Coates, who's pushed forward. Lati Fairweather's got to track the run, and he does, and he puts it behind for a corner kick. Does he? No, the referee says that's a goal kick, and it must have come off Coates last. He doesn't complain, to be honest.
No.
So the referee's got it right.
Yeah,
well played, Thierry Lati Fairweather.
Yeah, he's done well there. I think actually the ball held up. I think because it's a wet surface, I think he thought he was going to zip off and go out for a definite goal kick, and it didn't. It sort of bounced and slowed down, and he gave the Chester player half a chance, but thankfully it's a goal kick for City.
Stockdale takes his time. Lati Fairweather's putting his boot back on. It came off over that far side. And then he lays it off to Tyler Cordner. Forest Green have got a fourth goal against Scarborough Athletic.
Yeah,
that's curtains.
Yeah, it is.
It'll be Forest Green that'll be going to the Seaside. But that all, well, it would have been an all Seaside affair if Scarborough had got it. Sunny afternoon in Blackpool, Ian. You'd have fancied that, wouldn't you, after our trip there on Saturday?
Oh, yes, fantastic.
Stockdale. It's Cordner. To Howe. Come on, City. Chant the Chester fans. Cordner again. To Burgess. Burgess back to Callum Howe. Listen to BBC Radio York on a night where we've been bringing you three commentaries. Harrogate Town trailing by a goal to nil at Carlisle in the EFL Trophy. Harrogate Town need to get something from that game to have a chance of progressing. A defeat and they're out. Forward to John Lewis, controls it on his chest, lays it off to McLaughlin. McLaughlin to Akinyemi, right hand side. It wasn't the greatest layoff. Allowed the Chester defender to get a foot in and puts it into touch for a throw in on this near side. Fallowfield goes down to take it, has to get the ball back off one of the ball boys first. The ball boys tonight from Strensall Tigers under 13s. Ryan Fallowfield has it. Needs someone to throw it to though. Does Ryan Fallowfield? He's still got it. Gonna have to do it quickly. The referee's going to blow over here. He goes to Woodyard. Woodyard back to Fallowfield. Can put a cross in. Doesn't beat the first man, falls to Woodyard, the edge of the box. He lays it off to Akinyemi. Forward to Burgess, just couldn't get there in time. And Chester struggling to clear their lines again. They're all over the place at times at the back of Chester, but they now will get back on that far side with Coates. Akinyemi sticks his leg out, trips him up, and he may go into the book here, Dipo Akinyemi. He does. The York City striker, he gets shown the first yellow card of the evening.
Yeah, I think that's just, he'd done a couple before. I think the referee's just trying to stamp that one out. It's 3 on the bounce, and about time the yellow card comes out. I think the referee probably thought, even though it wasn't a nasty challenge, just it did impede the player.
He did, but he's got to be squeaky clean from now on.
He does.
Doesn't need any sort of suspension. York City's star man, 8 goals, 7 assists to his name in his 18 starts. Chester have it at the back. Long ball downfield from Williams. Smith. I think he tried to head that back to Stockdale. The back of his head actually missed it.
Yeah, it ran through.
It ran through to David Stockdale. He gives it to Callum Howe. Howe to Fallowfield. Fallowfield ball over the top looking for John Lewis. Comes off the head of a Chester man and goes through to the goalkeeper. Stanway again. Interesting spelling, W-Y-L-L for Will. I imagine he may be Welsh.
Interesting, yeah. The team sheet, it's W-I-L-L.
Yeah, the team sheet's got a typo on it.
Oh, didn't know how to spell that name.
Ball over the top from Chester. They stayed onside. Now it's going to be offside now as Glendon broke forward. Corner, he was confident he'd gone offside. He just left him, didn't he? He knew that the flag would go up.
Very clever. Aware of his surroundings there, Tyler Cordner. He knew the guy was offside.
There was an obvious joke there about Wales and Chester, Ian, but I didn't go there.
I was about to.
I knew you were.
I was itching. I did ask Dan Parslow if Chester is actually in Wales or not.
What was his response?
He didn't know what to say because he totally understands the question.
That's not a good pass there from Callum Howe. Ryan Fallowfield couldn't stop the ball directly in front of us from going into touch. And it's a throw to Chester. Taylor takes and goes back to Harrison Burke. He goes in field to Liam Edwards. And it goes across the right-hand side to Matty Williams. Williams. Long ball downfield. Stockdale thinks about coming out of his area to claim, or to sweep up, but he doesn't have to because no one in a yellow shirt runs after it. Instead, he can wait for it to arrive and then just calmly lays it off to Tyler Cordner. Cordner to Howe. Just over 4 minutes to go in this first half. City still leading by the early Lionel John Lewis goal to 0. Cordner does well to find McLaughlin. Space for Paddy McLaughlin to come forward inside left. McLaughlin gives it to Latty Fairweather. Latty Fairweather fronts up Coates across the edge of the penalty area, the face of the penalty area, and he gives it to Woodyard. Oh, terrible pass from Alex Woodyard, but City again have won it back. Burgess. And then the foul as the Chester man Taylor puts in a tackle on Fallowfield. What an awful pass from Woodyard, but Chester just give it straight back once again. Yeah,
because they're under so much pressure. City have put them under pressure. They're unsure of themselves, Chester, and when they do get the ball to the feet, they're just panicking a little bit. We've been there.
He's trying to get messages on here as Callum McIntyre. He's looking at his watch. I think he's just trying to say to his players, there's only 3.5 minutes left. You've got the clock to the far side as the rain continues to belt it down here at the LNER Community Stadium. Let's just try and see this out till half-time. Yeah,
because a second goal right now would make York massive favourites. And wouldn't that be lovely? But yeah, it's 3.5 minutes to go. I think York fully deserving of this 1-goal lead. 2 would be lovely.
Burgess over the free kick, so is Latty Fairweather. Just confirmation that Forest Green have got that 4th goal against Scarborough, but Scarborough pulled one back. Forest Green 4, Scarborough Athletic 1. Burgess. This is a pre-planned move as well. Lays it off to Latty Fairweather. Now he swings it into the middle. Cordner's having his shirt pulled all over the place there. They've not cleared their lines. Overhead kick comes in from Howe. Headed away by Burke to the right-hand side to McLaughlin. Heads it onto his arm, and the referee gives the free kick.
Yeah, he's unlucky there, Paddy McLaughlin. Just headed it onto his own arm.
What about Tyler Cordner's shirt being pulled?
Yep, in the
all of his back.
Yeah. The referee was in a good position, I think, to see that.
All these York City fans in front of us here are either deciding to make their way a little bit higher up the stand, or they're taking an early break for refreshments because it is belting it down and they're getting soaked in front of us. Massive flaw with the design of this ground. This roof doesn't go out far enough to cover the supporters that are in it.
Yes, it's unfortunately for them down at the front rows, they're going to get a little bit wet.
Forward to again, John Lewis can't control that, gives away possession. Chester come forward, but then City are able to clear. Liam Edwards is going to go back to his goalkeeper. The man they got from Bolton, Liam Edwards. He's come into the starting 11 tonight for this game. They come across to this left-hand side to Harrison Burke. Burke goes back to Stanway. John Lewis tries to put pressure on him. He can't get there. Stanway clears. Again, he clears too long. Flicks off the head of Tyler Cordner. That's good defending by the former Aldershot man. And it goes back to David Stockdale. His form has certainly improved, Tyler Cordner, this last 3 or 4 weeks.
Couldn't agree more. Just finding his feet, a little bit more confident in everything he does. Looks sharp. He's aware of his surroundings. He's looking like the defender we thought we'd signed. It's maybe just took him a little bit longer than hoped to come to this stage, but certainly real signs of improvement.
Howe down the line, looking for John Lewis, flicks off the head of the Chester man. John Lewis round the back to the dead ball line, needs to try and pick out someone. Oh, Linnell. What was that? He's got lucky because it's taken a nick off a Chester man, gone behind for a corner, but it was completely overhit and was going out for a throw in far side of the ground. Yeah, he was favourite to beat the man and put the ball in the box. In fairness to him, I think he's tried to put a lot of zip on it, and it's bounced up off the Chester defender's knee.
winning a corner, of course. Let's see what Scott Burgess has got in his locker for this one.
Yeah, City's 4th corner of the game. Got 3 in the opening 10 minutes. Had to wait a while for their 4th. The ball's just making its way behind the goal from the far side of the ground to this near side. Burgess raises both arms this time. It's going to be an outswinger. Let's see what he's got in store. And it comes now. It's a deeper one. So Callum Howe wins the header, but he can't direct it towards goal. It goes over the bar and into the empty seats behind.
Yeah, it's a good corner. And you know Callum Howe's going to be one of the favourites to win the header. In that case, it's come off the top of his head and go over the bar. But again, City looking dangerous.
Goal kick then. That's the 45. What does the board say? 1 minute. Shown by the 4th official. Stanway taking his time over the goal kick. Down the right-hand side again it goes. Onto the head of Callum Howe. Cleared by McLaughlin. Headed away by Taylor. Picked up by Burgess. Appeals for handball. He lays it off to Ryan Fallowfield. Final attack of the half. Fallowfield to Akinyemi. He lets it go. There's no one behind him. And it goes into touch for an attacking throw-in for York City. If Tyler Corner's quick enough here, he could get down there and take this throw-in, but he's not bothered. Will Smith sort of suggesting you should be going down to take this. But I think City are happy with a 1-0.
Yeah, I think it's sensible at this stage of the half.
Wouldn't you send Tyler Corner and have one last dart? He's not going to get down the other end of the field. Anyway, it's taken by Fallowfield to Woodyard near the corner flag. He holds on to it. Woodyard just wasting a few seconds down there. Back to Fallowfield. Infield now to Akinyemi. Tries to turn his man at the edge of the area. Plays it back to Fallowfield. Tight angle to middle to John Lewis. Oh, again, he just couldn't get his shot away. He was well shepherded by the Chester defence. And the referee blows the half-time whistle. City lead by just the single goal. It could have been 2, it could have been 3. They have had other chances. There have been a couple of scrambles in the Chester penalty area, but I think everyone can agree that York City deserved that 1-0 lead at half-time, Ian Dunn.
Couldn't agree more, yeah. City have been on the front foot from the very first kick-off. They really have. And some of the football out there was exciting. To what really attacking football. That's the kind of football, if City can keep producing week on week out, we'll have a lot of fun with this team. But so far so good. First half, really good performance. Can they do it again for another 45?
Goal came early in just the 5th minute. Scott Burgess corner on this near side, and he just dinked it. It was like a pitching wedge into John Lewis, who could have been holding onto the post at the near post. He took one touch and then turned and volleyed it into the roof of the net. Will Stanway had no chance. It means at the break, Sharon, York City lead in this FA Cup first round replay. They lead Chester by 1-0.
Thanks, David. Thanks, Ian. Second half commentary to come then here on DAB and also online in the UK only through BBC Sounds or bbc.co.uk/Radio York. In the game you can find elsewhere online, being covered by our colleagues at BBC Radio Gloucestershire. Forest Green 4, Scarborough Athletic 1. Scarborough pulling one back.
Wins the header there, does Johnson. Always convincing one. And the ball's given away from Forest Green cheaply. Here comes Colville. Play to the left side, and there's a goal back for Scarborough. Alex Wiles with the shot. Nothing Belshaw can do. Is the upset on? As it's 40 minutes gone, Forest Green still at the 4th, but Scarborough have one back.
And in our game on FM that kicked off at 7 o'clock in the EFL Trophy, Harrogate Town are still trailing 1-0 at Carlisle.
Last little pop round the corner. Can Garner reverses in down the right-hand side. There's a big chance for Colin United to score. Surely Gibson must score, and he does. Just gets in onto the rebound. It was a good effort on goal, I think. Not sure whether it was Plange maybe got the initial shot on goal. The goalkeeper saved it. Gibson ran on, hurt as he did so, or certainly caught. Should be one he can run off, but he has given Carlisle United the lead here.
So let's see how things look across the country. I was going to say at half-time, but clearly many games still, some kicked off early because it's the EFL Cup, isn't it? So we'll round up things the best we can. Just to say, if you want to get in touch, you can text us on 81333. Start your message, please, with the word York. Tweet us at BBC York Sport or on WhatsApp 08000 321 333, and please start your message with the word York. So let's start off then in the FA Cup, the first round replay. Let's see if I can bring you something a bit more up to date. There we go. Latest scores. Horsham 0, Barnsley 3. Accrington 1, Doncaster 0. Both of those coming up to half-time. Half-time whistles have gone at Burton, where it's Burton Albion 0, Port Vale 1. And Derby County 1, Crewe 2. And of course, as we've heard, York City 1, Chester 0. Still playing, Forest Green 4, Scarborough Athletic 1. Grimsby 3, Slough 2. And Salford 1, Peterborough 3. Elsewhere this evening in the National League North, a few games going on there. Bishop Stortford 0, Tamworth 0, Brackley 1, Gloucester 0, Chorley 3, Darlington 0, Curzon Ashton 1, Blythe 0, Hereford 2, Banbury 0, Kings Lynn 2, Scunthorpe 1, Peterborough Sports 0, Boston United 0, Rushall Olympic 0, Alfreton 1, Southport 1, Farsley 1, Spennymoor 1, South Shields 2, and Scarborough due to be at Warrington this evening in the league. Their game obviously postponed because of the FA Cup replay. Moving through then to the EFL Trophy, Blackpool 2, Morecambe 0. These are into the second half. Stevenage 4, Crystal Palace under-21s 2. Reading 4, Arsenal under-21s 2. Newport 0, Bristol Rovers 1. Carlisle 1, Harrogate Town 0, as we've been hearing. Tranmere 0, Wigan Athletic 0, Stockport 0, Bolton 2, and Shrewsbury 3, Walsall 2. They're at various stages in their games, of course, depending on when they kicked off. Anything from 7 o'clock onwards, basically, this evening. So we'll run through all the scores for you, of course, a little bit later this evening. Still playing by the looks of things in the FA Cup tie involving Scarborough Athletic. Still 4-1 they're trailing against Forest Green. We will, of course, let you know when we get to half-time in that one. In the meantime, it's BBC Radio York. It's Tuesday Night Sport. It's 24 minutes to 9.
Daytimes on BBC Radio York.
Amaka Okafor stars in the hit series Bodies.
Joanita Musisi.
That job, Bodies, is the best job of my life.
Did you get to film back in York as well?
We did. It was amazing. Our base was Friargate Theatre, and I was just like, I cannot believe this. This was my first ever job.
Beck Homer.
I always wanted to be a Blue Peter presenter. It's only the legend that is presenter Sarah Green.
Oh, Beck, do you know, there's still plenty of time. You just let them know.
Weekdays from 10.
Can I use that as a little snapshot to give to the bosses and see if they'll take your word?
Yes, yes.
BBC Radio York.
I'd have been happy with a Blue Peter badge. If you want to get in touch, you can text us 81333. Please start your message with the word York. Tweet us at BBC York Sport. Or on WhatsApp. Again, please start your messages on WhatsApp with that word York and send them to 08000 321 333. Pete in Beverley thinks this is the start of Neil Ardley turning things around. And good evening, says Duncan, who is a Wigan season ticket holder, saying he's listening to the coverage this evening of the York City match with bated breath. Of course, either York City or Chester will be hosting Wigan on the 1st of December in the second round. At the moment, it would be York City. But still 45 minutes of that game to go. We will, of course, have commentary here on DAB and online once that second half gets underway. This is Blur.
I met him in a crowded room where people go to drink away their gloom. He sat me down and so began the story of a charmless man, educated the expensive way. He knows his Clara from his Beaujolais. I think he'd like to have been running cray, but then nature didn't make him that way. And from this charmless man I just had to hide. He talks at speed, he gets no speed. He doesn't see his days are tumbling down upon him.
It's BBC Radio York Tuesday night sport. It's 19 minutes to 9 at half-time in the FA Cup replays. York City are leading Chester by 1-0. Scarborough Athletic are trailing by 4-1 at Forest Green Rovers. And in our game on FM in the EFL Trophy, Harrogate Town are trailing 1-0 at Carlisle. You can hear the second half of that game now into the last 10 minutes or so. It was a 7 o'clock kickoff. That's on FM. Here on DAB and online, we'll be going back to the LNER Community Stadium for the start of the second half of York City against Chester in a few minutes. This is Tom Walker.
At another party, they don't wanna go. 100 people drinking alone. You're so pretty and you want me to stay, but in my head I'm already home. If I could fake it honestly, I would honestly. But there's always a part of me that's freaking out all of my anxieties. I'm freaking out, wish I was less uptight and a little more like whatever, tripping over all of my apologies just to get to somewhere else I don't wanna be. Wish I was less uptight and a little more like whatever. I'm drying your eyes, asking for a light, fighting on the side of the road. Baby, don't blame me, blame the ADHD, but I was never diagnosed. If I could fake it honestly, I would honestly. But there's always a part of me that's freaking out all of my anxieties. I'm freaking out, wish I was less uptight and a little more like whatever, tripping over all of my apologies just to get to somewhere else I don't wanna be. Wish I was less uptight and a little more like whatever. I'm a little past all my day, drowning in the deep end, and I know you can't understand. I'm freaking out, I'm a little past pull me out, fake and small, calm down, and I know you can't understand. At another party, they don't wanna go. In my head, I'm already home.
16 minutes to 9, BBC Radio York in the EFL Trophy, the game on FM. It's now Carlisle 2, Harrogate Town 0. That game coming to an end quite shortly, and when that happens, you can hear the York City game on FM as well as DAB. Elsewhere today, the Aston Villa defender Ezri Konsa says he's grateful for the opportunity to be handed his first call-up to the England squad. He's been facing the media for the first time at St George's Park, saying he knew his time would come and it was just a matter of when. Captain Johnny Evans has been ruled out of Northern Ireland's final Euro qualifiers against Finland and Denmark. The Manchester United defender has a thigh injury. A man has been arrested on suspicion of manslaughter of the death of ice hockey player Adam Johnson, who was fatally injured in a match. The Nottingham Panthers player died after cutting his neck when playing against Sheffield Steelers last month. At tennis's ATP Finals in Turin, Stefanos Tsitsipas was forced to retire just 3 games into his match against Holger Rune because of injury. It means Rune registers the win. Novak Djokovic will qualify for the semi-finals if he beats home favourite Jannik Sinner tonight. And in boxing, two-weight world champion Natasha Jonas will defend her IBF welterweight title against Michaela Mayer in her hometown of Liverpool on the 20th of January. The Briton will be making the first defence of her belt since stopping Canadian Candy Wyatt in July. It is 8:45 here on BBC Radio York. Just to remind you, on FM, Harrogate Town are trailing Carlisle by 2-0. At half-time, Scarborough Athletic are trailing 4-1 in their FA Cup replay at Forest Green. And here on DAB and online, it's time to get back across to the LNER Community Stadium. York City are leading Chester in their FA Cup replay by 1-0. Let's go back for the second half and join Ian Dunn and David Ward.
Yeah, thanks, Sharon. Changes as well, or change at half-time for the visitors. The leading goal scorer, Charlie Caton, is coming on. I didn't see what number was shown now, flashing the ball, so someone stood directly in front of him. Neil Ardley and Tyler Cordner were stood in front of the guys. Ardley was giving out some messages to his centre-back. So Charlie Caton is on. The striker, no real surprise there, because they've offered nothing in attack in that first period. The visitors, I imagine it was Adam Thomas who's gone off. It was Adam Thomas that's gone off. So the former Curzon Stockport County man has been replaced by Charlie Caton, who, this is courtesy of Ryan Brooks, told me yesterday I'd missed out, I'd not seen this. He was part of the Shrewsbury squad that beat York City at this stage of the competition last year, although he didn't come on to play any of that game. Game's back underway, York City kicking from right to left, and Will Stanway, the Chester goalkeeper, brings the ball out of his penalty area. We'll run through the two sides in just a second. He sends it long down the left-hand side. It's nodded over there down the line by the York City centre-back, Will Smith. And City have messed around here at the back. Well, this is interesting from York City. Will Smith is now the right-hand side of the three centre-backs. Tyler Corden has gone to the left, and Callum Howe's in the centre, Ian.
Interesting. I'm not sure why, because...
That's directly from the kick-off, so it's not just a passage of play.
No. At no point in that first half did I feel we were under any sort of threats or pressures, but hey, that's why Neil Ardley's the manager. If he's spotted something he thinks the team can improve upon, then so be it.
Stockdale clear, so he's in goal. We've just given you three centre-backs. The wing-backs, Ryan Fallowfield and Thierry Latty-Fairweather. In the centre of midfield, Paddy McLaughlin and Alex Woodyard, Scott Burgess, Lennell John Lewis and Dipo Akinyemi up front. Lennell John Lewis with the goal on 5 minutes. Dipo Akinyemi, I should tell you as well, booked as he hooked over his shoulder there by John Lewis to Akinyemi on the left-hand side, up towards the edge of the area. Akinyemi's going to have to hold on to the ball, so he's been forced wide towards the corner flag. Dipo Akinyemi, tackle comes in, and it goes behind. York City have an early corner at the start of the second half. Dipo Akinyemi was booked in that first half. He takes the corner kick immediately to Latty-Fairweather, to Woodyard. That's 2 yellow cards in the competition. Back to Akinyemi on this left-hand side. Akinyemi to the byline, puts the cross into the middle, just over the head of John Lewis, and it's going to go out of play at the far side of the field, though. It's going to be kept in, is it? Chester let it go out to the far side of the field. There are two articles that sort of contradict each other. The Athletic, I did a search at half-time, said that if a player gets 2 yellow cards in the FA Cup, they miss the next game in that competition, which would mean that he would miss the Wigan Athletic game, because Dipo Akinyemi was booked at Needham Market in the replay. So that's his second yellow in the FA Cup. There is another article that contradicts that and says if you get 2 yellow cards in consecutive FA Cup games, you miss the next game. Now, obviously, that wasn't consecutive because City have played at Chester. So there is a chance we'll get some clarification, probably not tonight, because let's be honest, we don't know the rules, and I'm sure Neil Ardley probably won't know the rules either. He'll have to rely on Lisa Charlton, the club secretary.
The 2 yellow cards, that seems really harsh.
It does. You'd think it would be 3, especially one of those in the qualifying stages. So maybe the Athletic won't sort of specialise in the qualifying stage of the FA Cup, so maybe they're talking from just from the first round onwards. But we'll find out in the coming days. But there is a chance now that Dipo Akinyemi could miss that Wigan Athletic tie if York City can get through. Spread out to the far side to Ryan Fallowfield, up towards the edge of the box to John Lewis. Again, ball just bounces off him. Talking to quite a few people about Lennell John Lewis at half-time, he just hasn't been able to get going apart from scoring the goal. So as things stand, he will be given the Man of the Match award for scoring the goal.
Yeah.
But he just hasn't done anything else right, I don't think.
I don't think, yeah. We know the goal scorers tend to get Man of the Match.
Well, I've been talking to the sponsors at half-time, and so they've already told me he's going to get the Man of the Match, if only for that. At which point I've said, if that happens, I will out the name of the sponsor.
I think that would be rightly outed as well. Yes.
You've got to feel sorry for him, but to be honest, if he does nothing all game in York City, won 1-0, I'm quite happy for him. He got the goal. Absolutely. That's all that counts.
I think the man on the ball right now has had a cracking match.
Tyler
Cordner, yeah.
Strange, isn't it, you say that, and I agree, because Chester have offered nothing in that opening 45.
No.
And we're saying the centre-backs had the best game for York City.
True. But he just
long ball down
so
again,
good.
John Lewis tries to flick it on, just gives away possession. He flicked it in the 180-degree wrong angle. He hit that straight back into midfield, and he tried to flick it on.
Yep. It's uncanny how it bounces off at funny angles. He keeps trying, he keeps putting himself into them positions. You know, he's putting a shift in for his teammates, that is for certain. And yep, he has scored the goal that gives City the lead.
There is no doubt he is a handful. So he's doing that part of his job.
Yeah, unorthodox. I think it's suppose it would be one word.
Throw in far side of the field for Chester on halfway. Weeks gives it to Taylor. Comes off a York City man, goes back into touch. What do you think Neil Ardley will have said at half-time?
I think he'll have said he wants more of the first 20-25 minutes of the first half, but he'll also have said, hey, you 1-0 up here. You can only lose this match yourselves right now.
Coates gets another throw in on this near side, takes it immediately, goes into the centre of the area, the York City penalty area. Almost cleared by Tyler Corner, but then Alex Woodyard, terrible touch, gives the ball to a yellow shirt on the edge of the box. Back to Coates down this near side, and he wins Chester a corner kick.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
their first of this game.
It doesn't feel like Chester have upped it, but I just think City suddenly look a little bit nervy, a little less convinced of their own actions at times there. It's giving the ball away cheaply. You know, we're only 4 minutes into this second half, and we've been here before, you know, straight after the half-time. Things don't quite go right for City, so they need to buckle down.
Declan Weeks about to take this corner kick from this near side. That's the referee lines were just checking that a little bit of that ball is overlapping the quadrant. He says it is, and it comes now from Declan Weeks. It's a deep one, flicks off the head of Tyler Corner. Out of the penalty area it goes to Glendon, the far side of the field. Glendon turns away from McLaughlin. McLaughlin does well to get back, puts the challenge in. Glendon keeps hold of possession. Little back heel to Taylor. He can now put across into the York City box, and it comes now John Lewis. That's good defending from the York City captain, but it's straight back to a yellow shirt. First little bit of concerted pressure that Chester have had in this game, and it comes again from the far side into the middle. It comes to David Stockdale and then got stuck in no man's land. It comes off the head of a Chester man. I think that was Caton, but thankfully for York City it goes nowhere near goal, and Stockdale can come and gather. He's a bit uncertain there, the York City goalkeeper.
I think he knew what he was doing, but it didn't look convincing for us. I think he realised he was never going to get there, so he's holded his ground and retreated. But yeah, a few rocky moments there for City.
I'll tell you what, if that had looped over him, or looped over Ryan Whitley if he was in goal, I think everyone would have been criticising.
Yeah.
John Lewis does well on this occasion. Took a little bit of a knock there as well. Gives it to Ryan Fallowfield. Fallowfield back to Smith, who is playing on the right-hand side of the three-man central defence.
Yeah, and City just now, like a boxer, when a boxer gets caught with one, right now they're just trying to keep the hold of the ball and slow the pace down and try and quell Chester's attitude toward the match.
And although Caton has come on for Chester, they haven't changed their system. They're still playing 5 across the back, or 3 centre-backs and the wing-backs. Just the one man up front.
Well, the longer this is 1-0, you know, the nearer that last 10 minutes, 10-15, they'll take a chance and they'll push the wing-backs on, probably even further, or take a centre-half off and put a striker on.
Declan Weeks with a little ball around the corner to Glendon. Gets it back to Declan Weeks. Good running off the ball from Chester. Now they broke through that York City midfield. Back it goes to Glendon. Down to this right-hand side to Coates. Coates up against Lati Fairweather. Runs him to the near post. Cut out of the near stick by Tyler Cordner. Akinyemi is going to try and control. This has got a big defender right up against his back, and the Chester man does well, actually. Keeps it in play and wins the ball back for Chester. Definitely improved at the start of the second half. Roberts infield to Whitehouse. He goes back to Edwards. Edwards across the far side to Harrison Burke, and you can hear the increase in atmosphere from the Chester fans at the far side of the ground. 7 minutes gone in the second half. City still leading by that goal to nil. Scarborough Athletic trailing by 4 goals to 1 at Forest Green Rovers. Harrogate Town trailing by 2 goals to 0 at Carlisle United. Carlisle already out of the EFL trophy, but getting some sort of revenge after Harrogate Town knocked them out of the EFL Cup back in August. York City win a throw-in on this near side.
Yeah, they're just slowing the game down a little bit here, York City. At every opportunity, Chester have got the tails up a little bit, so it's clever from City just to keep possession of the ball and try and dampen any enthusiasm that Chester may have. This is all about being hard to beat. This is what being hard to beat is. When you're under the cosh, still be hard to beat. Do not concede easily. And that's what City have got to get better at, but they're doing all right at it tonight, that's for certain.
Back it goes to Stockdale. Stockdale to Smith. Smith long ball down the right hand side, looking for John Lewis. He can't get there. Well defended by the yellow shirts. All the way through to Stanway it goes.
And Neil Ardley actually still shouting on to his team. He wants that ball moving quickly. He wants it to be distributed quickly.
Good game at Blundell Park. Grimsby 3, Slough 2 in that FA Cup replay.
Scott Woodthorpe will be happy as a Grimsby fan.
Over at the back. Chester. Edwards back again to Stanway. Forced out of his penalty area on this right hand side to Edwards. Tackle comes under him from Alex Woodyard.
Yeah.
Good from him.
There's a little parts of the pitch that Alex Woodyard covers so well from centre midfield, just to stop the attack coming from the opposition. Good play from Alex Woodyard.
Throw into Chester then. Going to go along down this right-hand side. Coates does, looking for Caton. Corner's going to pick up for York City. Under pressure, corner from Glendon. Really good from him, though.
Excellent play, excellent.
Finds Will Smith.
I wasn't sure at first, but he did know what he was doing.
Burgess. Woodyard's got a bit of space in the centre circle. Goes across the right-hand side. Neil Hardy's not happy with Alex Woodyard there. Wanted him to move it a little bit faster and go forward. He went back to Smith. Smith now to Howe. I suppose that's still the one complaint if you were to have one in that first half performance. It did drop off a little bit, and there was lots of this knocking it around at the back as City try and eke out an opening.
Yeah. I think it's all part of that process of keeping the ball, certainly at 1-0 up, and keep the ball and try and fashion an opening.
Down the right-hand side it goes for Burgess to send it forward, looking for John Lewis. Controls this one well on his chest. Far right-hand side of the penalty area. Still got it as John Lewis. Pulls it back to Scott Burgess. Burgess to McLaughlin. Moving it from right to left to Latty Fairweather just outside the box. Overlapping run by corner. Latty Fairweather get past his man in the penalty area, and then Coates does really well to get himself back in. I'm not sure how he got there in front of Latty Fairweather, but he did, and Latty Fairweather's all over the back of him. That'll be a free kick to Chester.
He went between his legs. He must have. He did not look odds on to win that there, Coates, but he's done well to stop Latty Fairweather. Interesting to see Tyler Corner there. He overlapped Terry Latty Fairweather. Our centre back overlapped our left wing back. Didn't get it, but
well, he was the furthest forward at one point in an attack on Saturday was Tyler Corner, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And then, of course, Ryan Fallowfield was there to knock the ball into the net for the second goal as Stanway sends it out to the left-hand side and the centre-back can't control the ball. Cheap throw in for York City. Fallowfield throws it down the line. John Lewis can't get there. Didn't really give him much of an opportunity to get there, to be fair. And Chester have it. With Taylor. Down the line. Smith, not a great header from him though. Gives it straight to Glendon. Glendon, down the left. Gives it to Caton. Look, ball infield to Declan Weeks' burst forward. Almost through on the left-hand side of the penalty area. Shot comes in, blocked by York City, back to a yellow shirt. And McLaughlin does really well to get a block on that. And Elliot Whitehouse tries to get it on this near side. Chester man again throws himself to the ground. Coates, referee doesn't give the free kick.
Oh, strange, the ball's played into Coates. He's as if he was reckoning on Latty Fairweather putting a foot in, and he didn't, but he still went down. Gamesmanship at its best or worst.
Now the South Stand trying to get involved, to give a little bit of inspiration to York City. Oh, this is a good move down the left from Chester, round the back, cross into the box. David Stockdale doesn't get that first time. Ball deflects off a Chester man. They still haven't cleared it, City. Still haven't cleared. Shot comes in, and it's going to be pulled wide, is it? No, it's gone just wide this near post. An almighty scramble. You're let off for York City. 3 chances there for Chester. Hands on head from the Chester guys in the press box alongside us. And somehow, York City have escaped.
Well, there's a lot to unpick in that move. David Stockdale dropped a bit of a howler, to be fair, and I think he'd admit it. He didn't half make up for it, though. He threw his hands. He's hurt himself, I think. He realised he dropped a bit of a clanger. Chester, well, it's so much to unpick, but the bottom line is Stockdale did react. He did get his hand on a certain goal. The ball was going to head into the back of the net, and he put his body on the line there for York City, but it came from his mistake, and a good move from Chester, let's be fair.
There were a couple of occasions I thought they were just going to side foot it from 3 or 4 yards into the back of the net.
It looked open. It looked easier. It looked easier to score than miss, and somehow Stockdale and his defenders managed to keep the ball out of the net there. They've done well to do that, but I think they had a large slice of luck involved in that passage of play.
And there were worrying signs here. David Stockdale's getting treatment. There are 2 people over there giving him some sort of treatment. Everyone else has been called across by their respective managers for talks on this near side.
Yeah, I think Stockdale, he may well have got hurt. He's a big lad. Hopefully he's okay, because yes, the first one was a bit of a howler, but the second one was bravery at its finest, and he stopped a certain goal there. He really did.
Well, Rory Watson is on the bench for York City. David Stockdale is now sitting up, but he's still receiving treatment.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he got clobbered around the head or if it was his hand. So he put his hand in there.
He's pulled to his feet by the 2 physios, or the physio and the doctor. And he's going to be fine to continue.
Yep, good news for York City.
59 minutes on the clock. City still lead by the narrowest of margins, and that was a big let-off. The closest by far that Chester have come to getting themselves back into this FA Cup first round replay.
Yeah, very close. And you just got to think, it doesn't feel like it's one of those, oh, it's coming, but City have got to guard against that. I'd be a lot happier if City could hurt Chester's goal a little bit more. They've not really threatened thus far in this half.
Whitehouse beat McLaughlin to that, and then it's put into touch by Smith, who's now come across again to this left-hand side, so switched back now of York City. Actually, it hasn't really worked in that opening 10 or 12 minutes of the second half.
I don't understand why the change was made.
Akinyemi can't hold that up. Smith heads clear. Picked up in the centre of the park by Roberts. Roberts with a big up and under, looking for Caton. Stockdale comes to the edge of his area and heads it clear under pressure from Caton. Finds Smith, who controls and then gives it the big up and under down this left-hand side. Roberts hooks it clear again for Chester. Comes back just over halfway. Akinyemi had been shrugged off the ball here. Williams gets given the free kick. Sorry, someone just said something in my ear there. I missed that. Just the noise in the crowd here. Back on all frequencies now, I'm hearing. The Harrogate Town game has finished. They were beaten 2-0 at Carlisle, so go out of the EFL Trophy. So we're on all frequencies now. So welcome if you have been listening to Harrogate Town on our FM frequencies. You're now listening to coverage of this FA Cup first round replay between York City and Chester, with York City leading by 1-0 thanks to Lennell John Lewis's early goal in the 5th minute. But Chester coming back into this game in the second half.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the formation. Burgess is definitely trying to push in between Akinyemi and John Lewis at the moment. I'm not sure if that's a method of trying to push York forward or a little bit of a change.
Smith nods it clear for York. Akinyemi pulled to ground, or at least put himself on the ground. The referee doesn't give the foul again. The ball's allowed to bounce as Chester come forward. Caton, that was handball, wasn't it? Not given by the referee. Tackle comes in on Woodyard. Good tackle from Lati Fairweather. And then Smith does really well, because that's a tight position. He had his heels clipped. The referee gives the free kick to York City.
Yeah, he did well there, Will Smith. Again, it just looked all really scrappy from York City's point of view just there, which I'm sure Neil Ardley will be unhappy with.
It feels like a real cup tie, though, now.
It does, yeah. I mean, Chester are going to throw everything at us. That is the FA Cup for you. The City got to be mentally strong and physically stronger.
Smith to corner. Corner to Howe. 61 coming up to 62 minutes gone. Howe down the right-hand side, looking for John Lewis. Chests it down to Fallowfield. He tries to find Akinyemi. His touch isn't the greatest, but it still falls to McLaughlin. Back to Akinyemi. Left-footed edge of the area. Takes on the shot, but he drags it wide of goal. Does it take a nick? It does take a nick off a Chester man. And that's York City's first corner of the second half.
Yeah, a bit better from City. A little bit of relief. Like I say, we haven't really attempted anything on the Chester goal in this second half. That was as close as it's come. He's won a corner.
The referee just making sure the two Chester men don't go within 10 yards of the corner kick, because Lati Fairweather's over there if City do want to take a short one. This is how City got their goal in the first half with a corner. Burgess raises his right arm this time. And it comes now towards the near post. Howe can't get across his man. The Chester man gets there first, and Weeks is able to clear for the visitors. Only as far as McLaughlin. He finds Burgess with a good slide tackle, and he manages to turn. Good play from Scott Burgess. Lati Fairweather around the back on this left-hand side. He now dinks it into the box, but that's too near the goalkeeper, and it's easy for him to gather.
Yeah, he just got the cross wrong there, Lati Fairweather. It's come off the outside to the middle of his left foot, straight into the keeper's hands, but really good play from Scott Burgess there.
Well, now long ball downfield for Caton. He's got around the back, Caton, but he's wide. Needs some help in the middle. Pulls it back into the middle now. McLaughlin does really, really well there. Tracked the run of George Glendon and puts it back downfield and into touch on that far side. In fact, has it gone into touch? It has gone into touch.
He's everywhere. Paddy McLaughlin at the moment is
he's doing well.
Yeah, putting a real shift in.
On that far side, they have it. The yellow shirts in front of their 700 or 800 block of travelling fans. In midfield, it comes to Weeks. Weeks, they've woken up for certain in the second half of Chester. Deep cross comes into the box all the way down the back, and it's too deep. It's going to be allowed to go dead for a goal kick. Look at Neil Ardley. Who's he not happy with? Dipo Akinyemi.
Yeah, he's asking for more from his strikers in a defensive fashion, trying to stop Chester getting out too easily.
Yeah, he thinks he should have come over here to track Williams to stop him being able to put that ball in.
Yeah,
went to sleep, did York City striker.
Fair to Dipo. He stuck his hand up. He's agreed with his manager. I think Neil Ardley was hinting on Saturday that he did let go a little bit at half times.
Well, he was still talking yesterday, and not the interview he did with me, but the interview he did with one of the other guys about how he thinks he's now sorted. Training ground, people turning up late for training, people having the wrong things, people disappearing as soon as training's finished. So he's clearly not been happy with a number of the members of his squad here.
Yeah, things
not been professional enough, really.
Gone a bit slack.
So I won't want to get on the wrong side of it.
No, well, I mean, think where he came from. Discipline will have been, it's key for every club, really, the good ones.
John Lewis does well there to find Akinyemi. Paddy McLaughlin's the man bursting forward. He tries to find him. The yellow shirts, though, outnumber Paddy McLaughlin on the far side of the field. He's now been offered a bit of help. He's still biting at the ankles, though, the Chester man. They do eventually clear as far as Callum Howe. Howe. Oh, he's given the ball just in front of Caton. That was dangerous from Howe. Just found its way to Smith. Now to Latty Fairweather on the left. He lays it off down the line looking for John Lewis. He's never going to get there, Linnell, John Lewis. That was no fault of his own. Not a great ball from Latty Fairweather, who has struggled to get properly involved in this game on his comeback. And City now have it again at the back. Corner to Howe, far side of the field. 20 minutes gone in the second half. Still City lead by a goal to nil. Corner again to Howe on the right. He tries to send it down the line, hits the back of a Chester man, and Howe has to go back towards his own goal and give it back to Stockdale.
Yeah, we're just struggling to get the right key to unlock the door at the moment, City. It's, they're getting nowhere fast, really, and they're giving the ball away.
That's a dangerous ball to Burgess. Almost found Glendon. Burgess managed to get there first. Now to Howe. The crowd are getting anxious around us. Flicks off a Chester head. That not well cleared by Chester. John Lewis being held. Is he there? Oh, the goalkeeper! John Lewis going to roll in. 2-0 York City. Oh, what a mess in the back from Chester. They let the ball bounce in the defender. The goalkeeper came. It bounced over him, and John Lewis has walked into the back of the net under pressure. The captain gets his second goal. York City lead by 2-0. Get in there, Linnell, John Lewis.
Well, I mean, you just couldn't see that coming, could you? The keeper's had an absolute shocker there, bless him, poor Will Stanway. But plaudits for John Lewis. He didn't give up. He carried his run on, and he perseverance paid off, and he scored York's second goal in the most strange of circumstances. We'll take that, David. That is just what York City needed.
And the York City fans have really enjoyed that behind that goal. Getting stuck in as well to the Chester fans, because they aren't singing anymore. They're not singing at the minute anyway. They're silent, and all the noise you can hear around us is coming from the York City supporters, because their side now have a cushion. They have a 2-0 lead, and they're on their way, if they can keep this, to an FA Cup second round television tie against Wigan Athletic.
It's not often you see a goalkeeper get the ball bouncing over his head. From when it bounced in the 18-yard box.
It was the defender that let it bounce over his head first.
All of them, they've just all let it bounce.
2 bounces.
Yeah. They don't realise how hard this football ground is. But crikey, what a howler. But John Lewis, hats off to him, he didn't give up on it. And he
has scored 2 goals, and I reckon if you put them, how far out Beecham and Woods, probably 2 yards, a yard each.
Yeah. Add it all together, it's 4 yards.
No, 2. 1 yard each. 1 plus 1 is 2.
Yeah.
I know maths isn't your strong point, Ian.
You said 1 plus 1. That'd be clearer.
If anyone's sending in many or challenging, maybe a bit of maths free, and he'll try and work it out at full time. Then Chester come forward though down the right-hand side.
Did you use yards?
To Akinyemi. Akinyemi wide right, but it's 1-on-1. He's going to run at the defender. Needs a bit of help. John Lewis after his hat-trick now. Akinyemi still got it. Plays it off to this near side to Paddy McLaughlin. He's forced wide, but he's going to get there. He brings it back to Latty Fairweather. A third goal surely seals the deal for York City. Burgess. Back to Latty Fairweather. Now to Scott Burgess. Thinks about putting the cross in. Instead, he goes back to Woodyard. And Chester have managed to get everyone back behind the ball. And Woodyard's going all the way back to Tyler Cordner here. Corner. He's got to be careful. Oh, he tried to give it to Stockdale. Caton's robbed him of it. Caton runs downfield. What a mess this is from York City now. Caton in the penalty area. Right-hand side. Tries to pick out a pass. Gets the York City Chester man. Brilliant save, David Stockdale. What a save that is from David Stockdale. Fingertips to his right hand. To his left-hand side. And he pushed it wide for a corner. But what a mess. Tyler Cordner to blame.
Yeah, he got himself into a real mess there. Tyler Cordner. He's having such a good game as well. His improvement's been fantastic. But he still has that in him.
Corner taken short, gets it back, does Declan Weeks, swings it in again for a second time, onto the head of Dipo Akinyemi, who's back out, everyone back for York City. Goes to Joel Taylor, to the left-hand side, takes on the shot, hits the York City man Tyler Corner in the penalty area, he goes down, I think he might be winded, he's going to get up though, and City are able to clear. He's still down, actually on his haunches down there is Tyler Corner, and the referee's going to have to stop play.
Just catching our breath here, David, but what a save that was from David Stockdale, because Caton had got in behind Tyler Cordner far too easily.
Now,
Real mistake.
Who do you blame for that? Tyler Cordner for taking too long. Alex Woodyard, who really shouldn't have passed it back to Tyler Cordner.
A mix-up. I think ultimately it's Tyler Cordner. If you're in doubt, you boot it. If you're in doubt, clear it. He took a risk. And as last line of defence, really, you shouldn't take a risk there. But he's had such a good game. They're not going to hold that against him. He's got away with one.
And
Thanks to David Stockdale.
David Stockdale has made up for his error just a few minutes earlier. And
I mean, that was a fantastic save. It really was. Down to his left.
He's up. Just past the halfway point of the second half. 2-0 the York City lead. Chester getting ready to make a second substitution. They have it at the back, De Chester, from the uncontested drop ball. And John Lewis, double. Nailed on to be man of the match if City go through.
There's absolutely no doubt now.
And don't worry, Steve Wood, we won't drop you in it by naming you. Down to this right-hand side it comes. And they've gone back to Stanway of Chester. That's a bit of a surprise when they're trailing by 2-0. I think it's probably so he can just launch it down the centre of the field, and that's what he does. City win the header. John Lewis gives the ball away again so easily. Touch. Coates on this right-hand side goes back to his centre-back. Now it goes to Weeks. Weeks in field to Roberts. Neil Ardley's calling his men back. He's going to make a change here as well. It's Kai Kennedy who's going to be coming on for York City in a second. Joel Taylor now on the left-hand side. Taylor still got it up towards the edge of the penalty area. Cross now comes in from that far side. Going to be won in the air by Tyler Cordner. There's a little push on him. Comes off him. Falls to Smith. He can't scramble it clear. Paddy McLaughlin's there to help him out. He is having a good game for York City.
Yeah, he's everywhere, Paddy.
Which really not the greatest of clearance after praising him. He gives it straight to a yellow shirt. Now down the left-hand side, they're in here. Glendon, shot 2-1. How have they got in down that right-hand side in between Callum Howe and Tyler Cordner? And he slides it under. David Stockdale does Glendon. Chester are back in it.
They really are. They all believe. And that was all the little mistakes we've got in us in one little encapsulation right there. Cut through us like hot knife through butter. Oh dear. And David Stockdale will be furious with his defence. It's just too easy to get through, and the last person you want to land at, George Glendon.
Glendon's fifth goal of the season. Great finish underneath David Stockdale. The referee's getting a yellow card out here. And it's a
Chester player.
It's a Chester player, yeah. It's Glendon, I think. The goal scorer has just been booked.
And City brought it on themselves,
I don't know if he took his shirt off there when he after celebrating.
There's just been a couple of things we've brought up on ourselves there. Another avoidable goal. Good finish, but avoidable.
The game's back in the balance.
It is, my word. If we, thankfully that second goal from John Lewis went in, otherwise it would be a different story right now.
Stockdale has it. He was furious, was David Stockdale.
He really was, yeah. He was punching the ground there. I'm not sure he was furious at himself or at the defending in general. Yeah.
Latty Fairweather, back to Smith.
We've just been making a few elementary errors in the last 5 or 10 minutes there, but you think, putting ourselves under pressure. The first one, David Stockdale's first mistake. Tyler Cordner, bit of a mistake. The goal looked avoidable.
Yeah, you have to say they deserved their goal, though, in the second half of Chester.
Yeah, they've knocked on the door.
All the way through it goes to Stanway. So what we got? 18 minutes plus quite a bit of injury time to go. York City 2, Chester 1.
Both Paddy and Woodyard are going back on the same player there. There's leaving a big gap in the middle of the park.
Yeah, they're both pushed forward, haven't they?
Yeah.
On Declan Weeks. I know Declan Weeks is the playmaker, but yeah, do you really need to be pushing to your holding midfield players forward?
No, because when the others break away,
now they're broken the press down that left-hand side.
Both our holding midfielders are stuck up the pitch.
Taylor going to put a cross in from a deep position, tries to run York City actually, then goes to the goal scorer Glendon. He's going to put the cross in as he pulls it back. Towards the edge of the penalty. Oh, Weeks has found some space at the near post, but he's been forced wide. Back to goal. Still got it, Declan Weeks. He's been allowed to turn. McLaughlin can't keep with him. Now a little back heel. Caton takes on the shot. Just wide of goal. Oh, what are York City suddenly doing at the back? It looks a mess.
And City have suddenly imploded is a strong word, but it just feels like they've lost the composure right now. It's as if they've been put under a bit of pressure and they're struggling. They've got to regain the composure, get back to what they were doing properly in the first half, because this second half has been a little bit slack. They still hold the lead, they still hold the aces, but Chester are banging at the door, David.
Stockdale gets ready to clear. Callum McIntyre, the Chester boss, has a look at his watch. He's taking his coat off. Looks like he means business down there.
The other thing is that Chester at 2-0 particularly had nothing to lose, and they're playing like a team that had nothing to lose.
They now send it forward.
They're throwing everything
Win it in
forward.
the air does Caton. And Callum Howard goes back to Stockdale, who clears first time. Big right boot through that ball. Downfield, allowed to bounce again by the Chester defenders, put into touch on this near side.
Rather Davey getting a header on there, the photographer.
Throw into York City.
Get him on.
Level with the edge of the Chester penalty area on this near side.
And City again trying to slow the game down, I think, here, because they realise...
has gone to get the ball off the cone.
Yeah.
He takes the throw in to McLaughlin. Back to Latty Fairweather. He plays it off down the line. Far too much on that.
We've lost that little bit of je ne sais quoi that we had in the first half. It's, do you know what I mean? It looks a bit slack. Things aren't quite happening right. The passes aren't finding the targets. It's almost the opposite of the first half, and it looks panicky. It looks nervy.
Certainly looks nervy. Chester now playing out from the back.
Yeah.
Weeks. And again, they beat the press because they pulled McLaughlin right forward. No need for him to go chasing, I don't think, there.
No.
Now Williams, the centre-back, has got past McLaughlin all the way up to the York City penalty area. Down the right-hand side to Coates. Good tackle, Latty Fairweather. I don't understand what they're doing there, Ian.
No, they're
John Lewis has given away possession again. Straight, just bounces off him. And then the Chester man throws himself to the ground on this near side. Matty Williams, free kick to Chester, just outside the penalty area.
There must be a theory to that. They're in again already.
They've taken it quickly to Glendon in the penalty area. Woodyard comes across, it goes behind for a corner kick. It's all Chester.
They're doing what we were doing in the first half. They're making the ball work hard for them and moving it quickly. And they're not understanding the press with both McLaughlin, Woodyard and Burgess, all three of them actually, pressing one player. Weeks
takes the corner. Outswinger, it's a deep one, and the one at the back post, and it hits who? A York City man on the line and goes behind for another corner. They're getting close to an equaliser.
Yeah, we're hanging on here a little bit, York City. Chester realise they've got nothing to lose. They can throw everything forward, and they are.
Kai Kennedy is going to be coming on in a second, but not until this corner's been taken by Chester. Third of the second half. Weeks has gone all the way across the far side. This is going to be an in-swinger. And it comes now. One in the air by John Lewis.
Yeah. The delivery from Chester, particularly Weeks.
Throw in, taken immediately. Back to Coates to swing the ball, into Taylor, to swing the ball in. Headed clear by Tyler Cordner. And Chester are forced back to halfway to Coates. He comes forward down the inside right. Now links it into the middle. Callum Howe wins that header. It's going to be picked up over that far side by Burgess, so after a bit of head tennis. And he then gives away possession. And it goes into touch off him. Throw into Chester, Whitehouse, back to that on the far side, into the centre of the park, come Chester, tackle, give away possession to John Lewis. Now it falls to Akinyemi, but he's all by himself, taking on three defenders. Akinyemi gets past the first, needs some help, feeds it through to Latty Fairweather. Coach has done really well to track Latty Fairweather, gets there before him and gives it back to his goalkeeper. And now the referee's going to pull up play because there's a Chester man gone down deep inside the York City half.
Yeah, I think Dipu Akinyemi there just... He could see a wall of yellow in front of him. He's tried to feed Latty Fairweather, but yeah, Coates with excellent defensive work there for Chester.
Now he's up, is Harrison Burke. You know what? The centre-back's out of position. He's gone down there to try and get the referee to stop the play because York City were breaking forward. And again, credit to the referee, he didn't fall for it.
Yeah.
Here comes the change for York City, and it is Dipo Akinyemi, I think, who's coming off, is it? I just saw number 9 flash up on that board. It is. The York City striker is hooked. By Neil Ardley, and Kai Kennedy comes on to replace him. Interesting.
Yeah, you just wonder if maybe he's carrying something or he's put a heck of a shift in. So a little change of tactic with Kai Kennedy, I think, joining John Lewis. Or John Lewis is the sole. Yeah, Kennedy's going to play off John Lewis here. He's an extra midfielder rather than an attacker, I think.
That's an interesting substitute because if Chester were to get another goal, and it goes to extra time and penalties, you're now going to have to do it without your star man.
Yeah.
But he is on a yellow card.
He's on a yellow card.
And Neil Ardley wasn't happy with him not tracking runners earlier on.
Yeah, and if he feels he's maybe just
making a point, maybe, who knows? If he doesn't think just doesn't think his fitness will last, that ball's gone out of play, and that'll be York City throwing on halfway.
I just wonder if he's run out of steam. He's put so much into the game, and a pair of fresh legs just to come on. Nothing sinister, just some fresh legs to come on and try and spark something. Try and spark York City into life, because this second half hasn't really started yet for York City.
Lati Fairweather on this left-hand side.
So
John Lewis does well to turn away from his man.
I say that was
John Lewis giving away possession, sets up an attack for Chester. Taylor comes forward, lays it off back to Weeks. Weeks over the top. Is their flag going to go up? It does, thankfully, because he was through on goal, was Caton. He takes on the shot on the volley, kicks the ball away. The referee should be booking him. He is going to book him. Charlie Caton, yellow card.
I was trying to say he didn't hear the referee's
knew
whistle.
Exactly the way he took off the shot.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I mean, John Lewis has scored 2 goals here, but almost every time he goes up to his feet, he's losing the ball, and we're straight away under pressure.
From the first minute.
Yeah. It's crazy. He's going to get man of the match.
I was going to say it's an enigma, but I don't know if that's the right phrase.
No, there is a word for it.
Stockdale with the free kick, centre of the field, just short of halfway. Up to that man, John Lewis. He gets a flick on and finds Lati Fairweather. It comes off him last, a little shove on him. And that goes into touch, right tight against the corner flag to Chester.
Yeah,
10 minutes plus injury time to go. York City 2, Chester 1.
There's a lot of good stuff.
Forest Green have got a 5th against Scarborough. They lead by 5 goals to 1.
There's a lot of good stuff, John Lewis. It's just that into his feet. Can he hold it up a bit more for City? Can he soak up the pressure a little bit?
McLaughlin gives it to John Lewis. This time he does hold it up and finds Scott Burgess. Burgess takes on the shot, hits the Chester defender, rebounds out to the far side of the field to Taylor. He gives it into the middle to Kevin Roberts. Now it goes to Burke. Burke down the line, flicked on by the goal scorer Glendon. He finds Caton. Caton wins a flick on, then got after his own ball here, Caton. And now the break is on. Glendon's continues to run forward into the penalty area. Good covering by Will Smith, who gets York City again out of a bit of a mess. But Chester have it on the left-hand side. They win the ball over there as well. Whitehouse plays it round the corner, cleared by Smith. John Lewis stays on side because I think he was in his own half. And now the flag goes up. He wasn't in his own half. In possession once again. He's gifted over to the National League North side. Then you give it to Lati Fairweather. No foul. Picked up by Caton. He's going to run at corner down the right. He comes in field, does Caton. Caton still got it edge of the box. Takes on the shot, deflects away for York City, and Burgess will pick it up. Burgess sidesteps his man. Good for Burgess. Lots of room to run into. He needs a runner in front of him though, and he doesn't have one. Burgess, John Lewis is offside. Now he gives it to John Lewis. He's offside. What are you doing, Lenny? And what are you doing, Scott Burgess, to give it to him? Now John Lewis was never onside the whole movie, and what is he doing?
I think he knew as well, but he just carried on running. I'm not quite sure why. It's
right in front of us.
Yeah, you just hold your line. I mean,
is that tiredness? It just couldn't stop. I don't know.
No, yeah, it's a tough one because just use your brain a little bit. Just use your sense.
Elliot Whitehouse is coming off here for Chester, and he's been replaced by Daly, the young lad who started the first game.
Interesting, because he will provide legs for Chester, as we saw in the first game. Very nippy, a decent young player. Oh dear, yeah, City. I think John Lewis there just running offside. Just if he runs out with the defenders, it'll create space for Scott Burgess to run into.
Bend your run, hold your run.
It's
so cheap.
Yeah, that's it. You give it cheap.
Glendon. York City have made Chester look good in the second half.
Yes. Yeah, I think
they've improved as well, to be fair.
They have a bit.
And they come forward down the centre of the field. The centre-back who's bursting forward. McLaughlin takes a tackling, but it finds its way to Coates. Into the box it comes. Corner heads clear. Who's going to pick that one up? It is John Lewis. He holds it up. Do not give it away, Lenny. He doesn't. He gives it to Smith. Sends it forward for Kai Kennedy. He's a willing runner, but he's not going to get there. And it goes into touch on this near side. The multi-ball system in use for the FA Cup. Edwards takes the ball off the cone and throws it straight back into play to Stanway. The goalkeeper lays it off to Roberts. York City fans trying to now get behind their side once more.
Yeah,
give them that little bit of encouragement, but it's nervy.
Yeah, we need to find something. We need to find a spark from somewhere. I think we need a third goal here, David. There's at least 10 minutes left, probably with
there's
any
a lot
time.
more.
Yeah.
I reckon we're going to see 6 on there, or 7. Oh, ball played through, and the through. Oh, offside flag goes up. Daly broke the offside trap, or at least he thought he did.
I mean, at the moment, right now, if you're neutral, you're looking at it, there's probably only one team going to score, so we need something from somewhere just to try and see this game out. I mean, don't get me wrong, defensively, we've stood strong for the last 10-15. We've had to stand strong, but we're just causing our own problems. I can't quite put my finger on why. Is it nerves?
You can tell David Stockdale's trying to waste a few seconds here now. He's throwing the ball out in front of him, 10-15 yards ahead of where his free kick's going to be taken, and now he's going to be yellow carded, is David Stockdale.
It's unfortunately, that also sends a signal to the opposition that you're sort of hanging on a little bit.
Well, I think everyone on this ground can see that York City hanging on at the minute.
Yeah.
Stockdale clears long, up towards the edge of the penalty area, headed clear by Chester. Woodyard, not mentioned him much in the second half. Fallowfield either, not hardly mentioned him, and he can't keep that ball in play.
Burgess, he's not been as much of a threat in this half. City, unfortunately, for this second half, really, we've not got started. We're 84 minutes now on the clock, and we've sort of had to hang in there. We've worked hard, don't get me wrong, we've worked hard, we've had to, but the composure hasn't been there in this second half, and that's maybe where we're at as a football club at the moment. We can't put in, if we get put under pressure, the composure goes
the crack
a little bit. The nerves start to kick in.
Throw into York then, just inside the Chester half, far side of the field, in front of the empty seating. Ryan Fallowfield gets ready to throw it down the line, looking for John Lewis. Can't win that. Chester clear back into touch. Appeals for handball from some of the York City fans in the south stand, not given. Second throw into York City. Fallowfield again takes the ball off the cone. One of the ball boys goes into the stand to retrieve that ball. Fallowfield loopy throw, straight to a yellow shirt. Nodded forward again by Burgess. Cleared with a big up and under from Chester up to halfway. Onto the head of Smith. Woodyard under no pressure, but gives the ball back to yellow shirt. And they send it forward straight to Callum Howe again. Both sides just giving away possession time after time here. Yellow to a red shirt. Red shirt to a yellow shirt. Red shirt to a yellow shirt. Yellow shirt, they found the man now. Weeks.
Trouble.
Now they're through.
Trouble now.
Centre of the field. Caton stayed
This
on
is
side.
trouble.
Almost around the back. Edge of the penalty area. Tight angle. Takes on the shot. Stockdale gets his fingertips to it. Coates just couldn't get on the end of it. It's a corner kick. The referee's given offside, is he?
Yes, Coates had drifted offside.
But he is right by the byline. I don't think he kept it in anyway, so it would have gone out for a corner. But what a save again from David Stockdale.
Yeah, he's kept York City in it. David Stockdale's kept York City in it with that save, because Caton, do you know what? Caton for a second stopped. He thought he was offside and he wasn't.
Well, he's in so much space.
That's the worry. It's when the opposition attackers get in behind us, they do get into space.
Weeks had so much space to play the pass to him, and then Caton was in loads of space, and now John Lewis has been penalised for a push. Can't believe there's some young lads down here. They've got school in the morning, but they're heading for the exits. I won't go yet, boys.
They might not want to go just yet.
They might miss quite a lot.
Yeah.
Into touch, the ball goes. Throw into York City, halfway inside their own half. 3 minutes to go. Here's the attendance. 3,850. So 3,000 York fans, not bad.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah, they've come out. Good to see.
755, so 3,100 York supporters.
Getting a round of applause there for the Chester fans, David, as you love to do.
No comment. Throw-in taken by York City. Latty Fairweather tries to keep it in play. He does, but Chester are able to clear all the way down. It goes, though, to David Stockdale. Still waiting for the man of the match announcement, Ian. Or they're going to hold on till the end of the game, knowing there could be extra time and penalties.
Yeah. Don't even go there. City got 3 plus whatever the referee adds on.
Penalised again, jumps all over the Chester man in the centre of the field. Now he goes down holding his head. Into the back of Roberts. You have to get up there, Lenny, because they need you at the back now to defend this free kick. The referee's coming to have a word with him as well, so that was just a little bit rash from Linnell there. Oh, and now he's got booked as well, the York City captain, for mouthing off.
Oh, silly. Silly, but it just shows where we're at. We're a little bit nervy.
I wonder if that's the mouthing off or if it was actually for the challenge. Not sure. Doesn't matter. He got a yellow card. He joins Deepo Akinyemi and David Stockdale in the referee's notebook for York City. We missed it earlier on. We're not sure whether Deepo is suspended if York City managed to get through. If anyone else can offer any advice on that, feel free to get in touch with us at BBC York Sport, 81333. Start your message with the word York. You might as well wait, though, until the end of this game, just to make sure the York City do get through. If they go out, it doesn't matter. FA Cup bookings don't count towards the league bookings. Stanway at the back for Chester. 1 minute to go, plus a hefty slice of injury time. Chester quite happy knowing there's going to be quite a lot of injury time just to knock it around at the back here. Back to Stanway.
Yeah, they're patiently trying to build a move, and there'll be plenty of time, I'm sure, like you say, David.
McLaughlin just still pushed quite high forward here, just out looking around. Goes to Weeks, and again they're knocking it around at the back.
The thing is, then there's a hole in the middle of the park, which
massive
Corner's
hole.
having
It's
to
a
come
long
and
ball
fill.
downfield that Latty Fairweather gets his head to, and it falls kindly to York City, to Woodyard. Woodyard tries to send it down the line. That's a good ball to John Lewis, and a good ball in field as well to Kai Kennedy. Kennedy towards the corner flag he goes. Needs a bit of help, does Kai Kennedy. Still keeps hold of it by the corner flag, does Kai Kennedy. And tries to win. Oh, he's got it on his man. Round the back to the byline. Into the middle it goes. John Lewis, fresh air shot. Sums up his night. Maybe not in front of goal. And he's penalised this for John Lewis. So Chesterman threw himself to the ground.
That's
what
ridiculous.
a decision that is from the referee.
No, the defender just put his body in
And he wants a word with John Lewis. You can't send him off for that. It's not even a foul, referee.
He's trying to shoot. He's an honest attempt at striking the ball. He just missed it. The defender's absolutely fine. That's ridiculous.
Completely ridiculous. 4 minutes, that's all.
Wow.
The ball's gone up.
Wow, we'll take that, surely.
I can't believe that. I would have had at least 6, if not 7.
Yeah, well, we're 20 seconds
Unless he's
into
made
that.
a mistake. But he can't do because they're all mic'd up. There was at least 2 minutes when all the players came across this near side.
Yeah.
For the injury
for
for
the
David
injury.
Stockdale.
Yeah.
2 or 3 minutes for that. And they're still happy to pass it around at the back of Chester, back to Stanway. He's been told to kick it forward by his supporters. It goes down the left-hand side. Has it gone into touch? It has gone into touch. What are they doing, Chester?
That's just what York wanted, to be fair. Mistakes from Chester. They might feel they've had the chances to get back in this match.
Poor Nick Love to your left-hand side, the Jorvik radio correspondent who's a Chester fan, doesn't look very happy.
Oh, bless, I forgot he was a Chester fan, yeah, dear me.
He'll have to put on a brave face if he talks to Neil Ardley and pretend that he wanted York City to win.
Yeah.
Ball down the middle of the field from Chester. Picked up though by the yellow shirts, they've brushed off Paddy McLaughlin there. Caton picks it up, runs at the York City defence. Caton to the left hand side, intercepted by Ryan Fallowfield. Now the break's on, 3-on-1 for York City. Fed through to John Lewis, stays onside. No, linesman! We are directly in line. That is a shocking decision. John Lewis was not offside that time.
That's awful, linesman. He just couldn't wait to put his flag up. John Lewis actually on that occasion held his line really well.
We are directly, perfectly in line.
Oh, that's awful. It couldn't be. Oh, dear me.
It was hardly beyond the last one when the ball even reached him.
Yeah, no, it was perfection. Lovely pass from Fallowfield, and John Lewis. No, dear me.
Ball downfield. City struggling to clear it at the back. They're going to now through Ryan Fallowfield. We've played 1 minute 50 of the 4. Forward again to John Lewis. He's just going to have to hold it up. He lays it off to Kai Kennedy on the left-hand side. He can go to the corner. He can go to the penalty area. Where's he going? Into the penalty area. Kai Kennedy needs a bit of help. Now he's going to go to the corner flag. If you go there, you've got to keep hold of it, Kai Kennedy. Trying to waste some seconds by the corner flag. He's got Chesterman all over the back of him. The referee doesn't give it, and it falls kindly to Latty Fairweather. It goes along the dead ball line. In the penalty area, Burgess! Oh, saved by Stanway! Burgess! Oh, he's put it over the bar! Oh, what a miss from Scott Burgess. That would have wrapped it up. Chester are still in it. They've still got 90 seconds to go.
Oh, Scott Burgess. The goal opened up twice for him. He just couldn't hit the target. Oh, dear.
They're sending Williams up front here at Chester for the final 90 seconds. He's only got halfway before they sent the ball down to on this right-hand side. Now he goes back upfield. Declan Weeks, long diagonal ball up towards the edge of that York City penalty area. Tyler Corner, win the header, he does. And he finds McLaughlin under pressure though. Williams picks it up off McLaughlin. Inside the York City half of the field. Now this right-hand side to Declan Weeks. Declan Weeks, he's got overlappers down the line. He's got 2 men out there. He gives it eventually to Roberts. He's going to try and put a cross into the box. City going to try and stop the cross coming in. Oh, they've somehow managed to find it on the back. In he comes to the penalty area. What an opportunity. All the way across the face, goes behind all the Chester players. Oh, I can't believe it. They're going so easily. Could have shot, could have passed it. There was a tap in the middle. They still have it on the far side. Taylor, cross into the box, comes off a York man, goes behind for a corner kick.
Dear me. This is proper FA Cup football, isn't it? It's gone crazy.
Goalkeeper goes up. 30 seconds to go. City lead by 2-1. All the Chester bench are up down beneath us. Everyone is up. York have everybody back. The goalkeeper's in the mix. He's on the penalty spot. In it comes now from Weeks. It's a deep one. Oh, the header of the back post. It's gone wide and a foul's been given.
I think David Stockdale's got harpooned there.
Well, they had a free header at the back post. I don't know whether it would have counted because the referee's given a foul in there.
I think the keeper, he just ran into David Stockdale there. And City Dare I say it?
That's the 4 minutes. Here goes the man of the match. Even Robert Havercroft sort of said it, number 14, as if he maybe didn't agree.
He scored 2 goals.
But he's got the 2 goals.
Yeah.
And they're the 2 goals
Massive.
that should be seeing York City through. There's the final whistle! York City are through to the second round of the FA Cup by the very skin of their teeth. Liddell John Lewis, 2 goals, each from a yard each. They've proved to be the difference. Chester came back well in the second half. They missed their chances in the second half. They fluffed their lines, and York City just get through. But we will take it, Ian Dunn. York City 2, Chester 1.
Bring on Wigan. Bring on Wigan. That is going to be one heck of a night. Do not miss that one. City just got through tonight, David. First half performance has won the match for them. Second half, not so clever, but they did enough to hang on, and they hung on. They had to do, because Chester threw everything at York City there. But hey, have we got a team with showing a bit of resolute?
Well, they were resolute in that second half. There's a bit of good luck all about it as well, we've got to say that.
Yeah.
But especially in FA Cup ties, you need that bit of luck. And that's what City have had tonight, and they're the ones that are going through.
Yeah, exactly. And listen, sometimes you earn a bit of luck as well by the work you put in, the effort you put in. You get that little bit of luck where you don't expect it. And tonight, I think that second half, yeah, the luck we earned.
We had a bit of luck as well with the injury time. He never added any on either as well at the end of the game after the injury to David Stockdale, as both sets of players go to applaud their respective fans. The 750 Chester fans, the far side, they have all stayed to a man, woman, boy and girl to applaud their side off from the field. The York City players now in front of the South Stand. They're going home the happier of the two, because York City are still in the FA Cup. They have that huge televised clash Friday the 1st of December, 7:45. If you can't get down here to the ground, listen to it here on BBC Radio York. Join us on BBC 2. It's live on the BBC. York City are in the big time. They've beaten Chester by 2-1.
Thanks, David. Thanks, Ian. And as David mentions, forget the telly. Ignore that. It's on Radio York. Listen to us that night. It doesn't matter. If you can't be at the game, listen to us. So there we are. They've beaten Chester this evening by 2-1. They are still playing in the other FA Cup replay that we've had an interest in this evening. Scarborough Athletic at Forest Green. 5-2 is the latest score in that one. Michael Coulson with a second goal for Scarborough, but that looks like Scarborough, Jonathan Greening's side, on the way out of the Cup. But York City are through, and as David's mentioned, they will play on Friday the 1st of December with a 7:45 kick-off. We'll have full commentary of that match here on BBC Radio York. Harrogate Town also in action that weekend. They will be playing on the Saturday in their second round tie. But York City, the 1st of December, 7:45, coverage here on BBC Radio York. If you would like to have your 2 penneth worth about York City's performance this evening, you can text us on 81333. Please start your message with the word York. You can tweet us at BBC York Sport or on WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Please start your message with the word York, and we'll have a look at what you've been saying ahead of 10 o'clock. We will also as well hear, hopefully, from manager Neil Ardley, hopefully before 10 o'clock. If not, we'll be able to put that online. Let's just pop back to the LNER Community Stadium, David.
Yeah, because while all the celebrations are ongoing here, David Stockdale is down inside the 6-yard box down the far end of the field in front of the empty North Stand, receiving treatment from 3 or 4 different people.
Yeah, well, he was run into at that corner. Ran through, in fact. He's clearly not in a good way.
But there's a sense of nervousness you can tell around all the physios and the doctors that are around David Stockdale down that far end of the field. He's still sitting on the pitch and he's still receiving treatment as every other player now leaves the LNER Community Stadium pitch in front of us. David Stockdale is still down getting treatment, and that is concerning.
Thanks, David. Again, if we can bring you more about that, we will let you know ahead of 10 o'clock here on BBC Radio York. Hopefully, manager Neil Ardley might be able to shed a bit more light on that, and hopefully we'll be able to speak to him before 10 anyway on the back of that win. So York City through in the FA Cup, beating Chester by 2-1. Let's have a look at how things are elsewhere. Still waiting for some games to finish. some have already come to a conclusion. Let's have a look at what we've got. Here we go. In the FA Cup then, results: Horsham 0, Barnsley 3. Accrington 1, Doncaster 1. That will then go to extra time. Still waiting for that to happen. Port Vale are through. They've won 2-0 at Burton Albion. Crewe have won 3-1 at Derby to progress as well. Latest scores: Forest Green 5, Scarborough 2. Grimsby 7, Slough 2. Salford 3, Peterborough 3. And as we've been hearing as well, York City are through after beating Chester by 2-1. Elsewhere tonight, it's been the EFL Trophy as well. A defeat for Harrogate Town in their game against Carlisle by 2-0. That finished earlier. It was a 7 o'clock kickoff. That means Harrogate Town will not be progressing out of the group stages in this competition. Elsewhere, by Blackpool 2, Morecambe 1. Reading 5, Arsenal under-21s 2. Shrewsbury 3, Walsall 2. Stevenage 5, Crystal Palace under-21s 2. Tranmere 0, Wigan 1. Stockport 0, Bolton 2. Newport 0, Bristol Rovers 1. Just to go back, Tranmere against Wigan finished 0-0, and after penalties, Wigan managed to get the win. Of course, in the EFL Trophy, you get a point for the draw, and then it's got to be sorted by penalties, and you get extra points for that as well. There we are. So Tranmere 0, Wigan winning on penalties. So that's how things stand in the EFL Trophy. Just to look at the National League North as well. Scarborough not playing in that competition tonight because of the FA Cup. But elsewhere, Bishop Stortford 1, Tamworth 2. Brackley 2, Gloucester 0. Chorley 8, Darlington 0. Curzon Ashton 3, Blythe 0. Hereford 4, Banbury 1. Kings Lynn 2, Scunthorpe 1. Peterborough 0, Boston 2. Rushall 1, Alfreton 1 is the latest, so is Southport against Farsley, and it's finished Spennymoor 2, South Shields 5. That brings you up to date with how things look across the county this evening. If you've anything you want to say about your side, we'd love to hear from you. 81333, start your message with the word York. If you want to text us, tweet us at BBC York Sport, or you can contact us on WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Please start your message with the word York.
BBC Radio York.
Your station for North Yorkshire.
What makes me proud to be from Yorkshire is Yorkshire beer.
I'm proud to be from Yorkshire because the sights are stunning, the countryside's magnificent.
What you see is what you get with people from Yorkshire.
My favourite thing to do is walking in the countryside. The countryside in Yorkshire is just the best in the world.
I like the Yorkshire coast, I like Filey, I like Scarborough.
I enjoy living in York. It's given me many happy times.
I just love walking around the city walls. It's beautiful.
We've got the seaside, which is great fun.
On air, online and on BBC Sounds.
BBC Radio York.
BBC Radio York Sports, 17 minutes to 10 is the time. I think, I'm not sure if we can get reaction soon from manager Neil Ardley just to get a bit of confirmation. Yes, we can. We'll go back there very shortly indeed. Just to say, keep your comments coming in and we'll go through what you've got to say ahead of 10 o'clock. So let's get back across then to the LNER Community Stadium. York City beating Chester 2-1 to progress in the FA Cup. Let's rejoin David Ward.
Yeah, thanks, Sharon. I'm joined by York City manager Neil Ardley. You got there in the end, but boy, that was hard work, Neil.
Yeah, I thought game of two halves, wasn't it? First half, it was controlled. I thought we started the game really well. First 10, 15 minutes, thought we could have been a couple up in that spell. Then their game plan kind of stifled us and we came a bit safe. They blocked out the middle area and we were scared to try and play in there in case we turned it over and they counter-attacked us. And we had to be a bit more patient and a bit more brave at the same time. Then second half, I just thought, their manager was giving them a little bit of a shouting at in the dressing room. We could hear it as we come in, and I just said, look, they're going to up the game. It's a cup tie, and they haven't really laid a glove on us. They've had one counter-attack chance. They come out second half, and it's just that shift in mentality. They started with intensity. They played brave. Instead of panicking and going long, they kept playing through the thirds, and we never adapted. And we had to get on to the boys. And I don't think it was systems or change or that. I just think tactically, intensity, they come out front foot and we come out back foot, and all of a sudden we found the game a lot more difficult.
And at that point, you couldn't really tell the difference in levels that you both play at, could you?
No. To be fair, credit to them. They were a good team, and I didn't think you could tell the difference in the first game. We know we were trying to get better, but we found a way to win. I didn't think we game managed it well enough. I think we could have solved problems and made it very difficult for us, but we got caught half and half trying to press up there and then leaving gaps in the middle, and all of a sudden you've got their midfielders running at our back plays.
Let's look at the goals then. The first goal, how much work goes into that on the training ground?
I've got to take credit for that. I don't normally take credit, but I've got to take credit for that. We did a video before and we noticed it in the first game. We did a video, we tried it in the first game, but we overhit the cross. We did a video today just before kick-off, and I said, look, just showed it, so you don't even have to, you just clip it into Len, let him pin, and if someone wants to come around the front, we work from there. And the first one came, I saw the gap and I was going, do it, trying to shout at them, and they executed it brilliantly.
You've got to execute it 100% spot on, though, haven't you?
Yeah, and we always look, whenever we do set pieces, we don't just do the same routines, we look what setup the opposition have got, what might cause them a problem, and on that one, we did the video just before, so I'll take some credit.
Is that why you had most corners? You had the option of going short today, didn't you? You had sent 2 across on most corners.
Yeah, well, we didn't actually originally have 2 going out, but then when we looked at that and we remembered what we cause them a problem at their place, so we just did it and we executed it right this time.
And I don't think Lionel John Lewis had his greatest game tonight, but he's got 2 goals, probably from a maximum of 2 yards out. Yeah. Does he deserve a bit of credit for the second one, though? Because he basically chased in on lost cause.
Stayed with it. Yeah. He needs. If you don't do the yards to chase it down and make them do everything right, you don't get that opportunity. So that was great. And then obviously at the other end, David Stockdale's made a brilliant save on his near post. But it's difficult to. I didn't think we played well in the second half at all, but I thought they upped their tempo and it became a proper cup tie, and that's where we got a bit ragged.
Why did you change the centre-backs round at the start of the second half?
Well, we just felt in the first half they kept showing the ball out to Will down one side and Cal, and they were our 2 spare players. So what we said was, let's get Will on his right foot, let's get Tyler, who's very good at stepping out and can play 2-footed, so that if they're going to be our out balls, let's get them 2 on their right foot so we can maybe cause them, because they were our overloads, were our 2 centre halves. So we tried to do that, and we also tried to push 3 up on their back 3 because we felt like the middle of the pitch was blocked and we wanted to work the sides, but it was nothing to do with systems or tactics or anything like that. It was totally to do with they come out, they went brave with the ball, they played more than they did in the first half, we never adapted, and they ran harder in the second half and we never adapted, and all of a sudden we found ourselves in a cup tie that not caught us by surprise, because it shouldn't have. It's a game of football, but I thought first 20 minutes of the second half we started sloppy in everything we did.
And I suppose once they get that goal back, they've really got nothing to lose, and they can just keep going on the front foot and go for it, which is what
of course, absolutely. It's at 2-0, that's where you game manage. You see the game out. I mean, I'll have to see the goal back, but it looked poor. 1 run, 1 slide pass and 1 goal. But the writing was on the wall. Stockies had to make a great save, and they were all of a sudden just running at us. So we hadn't solved the problems, we were trying to solve them from the side, but it's hard when the game's going on to get all the information needed. But I just thought we got not tired, but we got lazy in our work. We weren't doing 2 jobs, we weren't solving the problems they were causing us, and one team's mentality was let's go for it, the other team's was can we hang on.
You took Depot off in the second half. Was that to do with fitness? He was getting tired. I know you had to go at him at one point for not tracking his runner down this near side. What was the thinking behind that substitution?
He's been booked.
Yep.
And I didn't want to risk anything there. We was going to do it at 2-0 and take him off, and then they scored and we thought, right, let's just see how this next few minutes goes. But at that point I felt like we needed a bit of energy up top. I thought Lenny's sort of aerial power was going to be needed. He'd scored 2 goals as well, and Depot's still working his way back to his fitness. So he'd been booked and he's still trying to get fit, and I just thought let's get some legs and energy into our press, because it was too easy for them to get out at that point.
David Stockdale stayed down after everyone else went off the pitch. We saw him walking down. He looked a little bit groggy. Is he okay?
He's had an elbow to the back of the head in that last minute corner, so we'll check him out, but I'm sure he's got a thick skull.
And maybe not needed at the weekend, because you've got a decent replacement who's played for the last couple of league games. This is a big boost, though, to everyone at York City, isn't it? This is something for people to look forward to in a couple of weeks now.
I hope so. Obviously, there's financial benefit from it, and I'm sure the owners will be happy with that. But hopefully, it's something the crowd get excited about. Friday night, it's always nice on a Friday night, and they all finish work early and get themselves down here. And let's see, it'll be the first time we're actually the underdog. So hopefully, the mentality shifts a bit, and we play the underdog role well, because we've had 2 tough games as the favourites.
And that was what all tonight was about, really, wasn't it? It was getting through. However you do it, even if it's not the best performance, which it wasn't in that second half, it was about getting through. You got that job done.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I'm still trying to get better performances out and consistency. I didn't think we played great tonight. I thought we started for 20 minutes really well at the start of the game, and then I thought we didn't solve problems of their mid-block in the first half, although I felt we was comfortable. And the second half, I just felt they came and had a right go, and we never adapted. And, you know, luckily we've got away with it, some good saves, but we're there.
And I don't know if you look at fixtures in sort of small blocks, but the 4 fixtures you had and filed the 2 home games you've got again in the next week, brilliant start to what could see quite a few points with the fingers crossed.
Yeah, I don't think of it. I just think, right, let's count the bodies, see what we've got, and try and get it right for the next game. Hartlepool are obviously here watching. If I'm them watching, I think, right, we know how to get at York, and we've got to be ready for that.
Great, thank you for talking to us. Well
Pleasure.
done getting through.
Cheers, Neil.
Neil Ardley there speaking to David Ward here on BBC Radio York. We'll probably have a chat with Ian Dunn ahead of 10 o'clock, and of course we want to hear your thoughts as well about your team. 81333, please start your message with the word York if you want to text us. Tweet us at BBC York Sport or on WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Please start your message with the word York. So let's have a look then at the results this evening in the FA Cup. Some have gone to extra time, 2 have gone to extra time. Horsham 0, Barnsley 3, Burton Albion 0, Port Vale 2, Derby 1, Crewe 3, Forest Green 5, Scarborough Athletic 2, Grimsby 7, Slough 2 and York City 2, Chester 1. Latest scores into extra time: Accrington 1, Doncaster 1 and Salford 3, Peterborough 3. Also this evening there was the EFL Trophy. Harrogate Town were in action at Carlisle. That was a 7 o'clock kick-off and it ended 2-0 to Carlisle, and that means Harrogate Town cannot progress out of their group stages in the EFL Trophy. We'll have a look at what you've been saying very shortly. Just to remind you, 81333, start your message with York on the text. Tweet us at BBC York Sport or on WhatsApp 08000 321 333. Again, please start your message with the word York.
BBC Children in Need.
To raise money for children in need, I'm going to be walking up and back down my local hill called Empsey Crag.
It will be one of the longest and toughest walks that Luke has done since his amputations.
Luke, did you do it? Did you conquer the crag?
Yes, I did.
Hurrah! Fantastic news. This whole thing was, of course, to raise funds for those that have helped you. Luke, how much did you raise?
£13,690.
Astonishing.
BBC Children in Need.
Adam, how proud are you of your son?
Oh, immensely proud.
This Friday.
BBC Radio York.
Thank you for your comments. We'll look at what you've been saying very shortly. Thank you as well if you got in touch, what you may have heard in commentary about that, about if Dipo Akinyemi will be suspended or not because of the yellow cards. David, we've had quite a few constructive answers, but we've had 2 saying he will be, 2 saying won't be, so we can't really shed any light on that one for you, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it doesn't help, does it? I think we're going to have to wait until later in the week to get a definitive answer on that. But fingers crossed he won't be suspended, because if York City are to take on a Wigan Athletic side, and they're going to be big underdogs in that game without Dipo Akinyemi, that would be a huge blow, Ian.
Oh, crikey, yes, but hopefully that isn't going to be the case. They will need all the players, like Neil Ardley just said, to be fit and at it. But there's big, important games before that night as well. So I think eyes will be on. You know, they'll get the eyes on that the week before, but prior to that, there's 2, like you said, there's 2 really winnable home games with Hartlepool, who are on the rocks a little bit, and is it Oxford next Tuesday?
City,
Tuesday night, yeah. 2 massive home games before then, so yeah, concentrate on them now. We've done the job tonight. They can put that to bed for a couple of weeks and start looking forward to that, hopefully with a few more points in the bag as well.
I wonder what John Askey will have made of York City tonight.
He will have looked and been very worried, I think, in the first half, and thought, because we looked at it, I thought, Neil said first 20, I thought first 30, 35, I thought we looked in control of the match. It didn't look like it to be a problem at all, but the second half, John Askey was probably looking and thinking there's chances for us to exploit York City at that point. So yeah, it's one of those performances where it felt a bit like a game of 2 halves, to be brutally honest. The first half was pretty much York City's. They could have put it to bed. It could have been 2, maybe even 3-0 at one point. But the second half, unfortunately, if you don't put them chances away, the second half allows the opposition to come at it. And like Neil Ardley said, Chester started off on the front foot in that second half. had a real go at York, and let's be brutally honest, they could have got back in the match. So yeah, it was a good match for York City in the end. But it took a lot of soul searching that second half to get over the line. But yeah, John Askey will go away tonight. He's seen the two sides of York City. First half, one to be worried about. Second half, one that he thinks, I'm sure, his team will have a chance to have a go.
Thanks, David. Thanks, Ian. Let's have a look then at what you've been saying on the text. Simo asks, do you think swapping centre-backs around at half-time upset the balance? Corner's been playing much better, one on the right side. Jimmy says a lucky win tonight. Lots to work on for the Monster Men, as it says here. I think of crisps when you say that rather than anything else. He says, I hope Stockdale is okay. Oscar says a poor win, but getting through to the next round is all that counts. In my opinion, it was a scrappy game all round, and we were lucky to get a win out of it. Thanks, Oscar. Sam says, job done again, not pretty over 2 legs, but into the next round, and that's priority. Still weak signs and a massive improvement needed, but better than what we've seen so far this season. Will Smith, Paddy and John Lewis were outstanding tonight. Thank you, Sam. Paul in Aberdeen says, well done to City. All the best against Wigan. They won't fancy coming to the LNER. Another Sam, this time on WhatsApp, says didn't need that raised heart rate at the end of the game. From comfortable to scrappy, a typical FA Cup tie. But we're on the telly. Just. And Jamie says that was a very hard listen despite the result. Hopefully some new players in by Saturday for another must-win game. Let's just pop back briefly to Ian Dunn at the LNER Community Stadium. A win for York City. No matter what the competition, that's 2 on the bounce. Facing Hartlepool this weekend, that really has to be a confidence booster.
It does, Sharon, and you know, City, the performances have been so much better. Certainly these last 2 games. Yes, the second half was a bit of a tough watch. In this game, this was an FA Cup tie. It was always going to be. You know, Chester had nothing to lose, so the second half was always going to be a tough one. But yeah, going into that Hartlepool match, the players are just putting we look harder to beat, and that is such a bonus for the team, because it gives such a for the strikers particularly, it gives them a chance to express themselves a little bit more when you know that, you know, you're not going to let a goal in every attack. So it is a chance on Saturday, and they've got Oxford the week on the Tuesday after. So City are going into these games in a bit of form. And if like David said, if we could pick up 6 points in the next 2 matches, confidence will be probably as high as it's been at the club in the last few years. So yeah, it's all looks good, but we've got to just remember where we are as a football club and where Neil Ardley is with his team. He's still getting his points across. He's still getting them up to the levels of fitness that he wants to see from these players. It's still going to be a bit of a process that we've got to go through. There'll be good times, there'll be bad times, but I think they're going in the right direction, Sharon. I really do. And Neil Ardley, whenever he speaks, he speaks common sense, and I'm sure that the players will appreciate that. When you just want to be given simple orders, and you want to be able to, that sounds really bad, but you want to be given simple orders, simple instructions that you can understand and put out on the pitch, and that seems to be what Neil Ardley's doing at the moment. And yeah, long may that continue, because there's a long road ahead of this season where City can still do something.
Thanks, Ian. Ian Dunn at the LNER Community Stadium. So York City through to round 2 of the FA Cup. Wigan at home is who they will face on the 1st of December.
Daytimes on BBC Radio York.
Amaka Okafor stars in the hit series Bodies.
Joanita Musisi.
That job, Bodies, is the best job of my life.
Did you get to film back in York as well?
We did. It was amazing. Our base was Friargate Theatre, and I was just like, I cannot believe this. This was my first ever job.
Beck Homer.
I always wanted to be a Blue Peter presenter. It's only the legend that is presenter Sarah Green.
Oh, Beck, do you know, there's still plenty of time. You just let them know.
Weekdays from 10.
Can I use that as a little snapshot to give to the bosses and see if they'll take your word?
Yes, yes.
BBC Radio York.
It is 1 minute to 10. We are here with you until 10 o'clock. If you missed what Neil Ardley has had to say this evening after York City's win, you can listen back On BBC Sounds a little later this evening, we will tweet the link to what the York City manager had to say following their 2-1 win this evening against Chester in the FA Cup. So thoughts turn to Saturday now for York City. They will host Hartlepool at home. We'll have commentary of that game along with Harrogate Town against Swindon in League 2. Harrogate Town losing 2-0 tonight at Carlisle in the EFL Trophy. And don't forget, Scarborough Athletic also out of the FA Cup, having lost 5-2 at Forest Green in their replay. We're back with you tomorrow evening. Louis Reynolds is with you from 6. But whatever you're doing this evening, make sure you have a very good night.
On the BBC Sounds app, on your smart speaker,
Play BBC Radio York.
and on your radio. The sound of North Yorkshire for 40 years.
BBC Radio York.
At 10 with the BBC News, I'm Mark Summers. Suella Braverman's launched a stinging attack on Rishi Sunak after he sacked her as Home Secretary yesterday. In a letter to the Prime Minister, she accused him of putting off tough decisions to minimise political risk to himself. A spokesman for Mr Sunak thanked her for her service but added the government's now a strong, united team. The BBC's political editor, Chris Mason, says Ms Braverman's letter is unprecedented.
You get ones that might be a zinger in a particular focused way, but this is this repeated, direct assault, not just on Rishi Sunak's record and, as she sees it, failure of achievement, but on his integrity as well. And that is one heck of a thing to accuse a Prime Minister of.
The BBC's seen a secret Metropolitan Police report which concluded a senior officer involved in the Stephen Lawrence murder investigation was corrupt. The document says Ray Adams was cleared of corruption partly because an inquiry relied on false testimony from a man linked to the family of one of Stephen's killers. The revelation contradicts years of police denial about the role of corrupt officers in the case. The Met says it's carrying out a review before deciding if further action's needed. Imran Khan, KC, is the solicitor for Stephen's mother, Baroness Lawrence.
The BBC is doing its job, investigating what happened in Stephen's case. So there's a real need to look at this. And if there is a tiny scintilla of that happening, the Met should take it up with open arms.
The United States says Hamas is operating a command centre at Gaza's biggest hospital. There's been fierce fighting around the building, leading to thousands being trapped inside for a third day. Doctors at Al-Shifa Hospital have denied the claim. A block of flats in Bristol has been evacuated due to safety fears. People in Barton House have been told to take overnight bags with them after a survey discovered major structural faults. There'll be more on this story with Becky in the next 15 minutes. Health officials have recommended the chickenpox jab is added to the list of routine vaccinations given to children in the UK. Ministers will now decide whether to make the change. Dr Helen Wall is a GP in Bolton.
My daughter had quite bad chickenpox when she was about 3 years old. She was really quite poorly, and as a result of that I actually got both my next children, my sons, vaccinated against chickenpox privately because I was so concerned about how unwell she was.
BBC journalists have voted to end the long-running dispute with managers by accepting a deal on jobs and programming. Members of the National Union of Journalists have previously taken strike action to protest against changes to BBC local radio services. Finally, a cat who went viral due to regularly visiting Stevenage railway station is releasing a Christmas single. 4-year-old Nala features on the track, which is called Meow. The Ginger Tabby is co-credited as one of the songwriters and as a vocalist. You're up to date, it's just coming up to 3 minutes past 10.